Okay, I'm ready.
Hi, I'm Steve Thompson, president of Emery Thompson Machine. Jeff Markow of Mystic Ice Cream, and your course is called?
Ice Cream Boot Camp. It's right there.
Christi Brown. Christi is our vice president of sales and marketing, and welcome to Make It Fresh. Today we're going to be running our August class, and I was thinking about what it is we do here. I was talking to a customer overnight, and he was saying, well, this is going to be too expensive to use fresh mango. Why can't I use a can of mango or something like that? And I said, unless you're going to make the very best ice cream, don't even bother going into the business. And that's what we're going to teach you here today. You'll hear Jeff say it often, that the ingredient cost doesn't matter because you'll make it up on the price. But what you're selling is something that nobody else has. Nobody else in the world has your specific ice cream. So whether you're Molly Moon or Buy Right Creamery or Leopold's, they're all their individual ice creams. They may have learned them through us, but it's their ice cream and nobody else can make their ice cream but you. So that's what we're going to try to do today. The real important thing here is questions. We're filming this, but we have an audience here, a good sized one. And please, anytime there's a question, just raise your hand. We'll acknowledge that we saw you, and we'll get to you as soon as one of us takes a breath from talking. But we want to know, yeah, me. We want to see that man just put his hands up. He has two questions. We want to answer your question right away, because it's pertinent and everybody else wants to hear it too. There's no such thing as stupid questions. People want, if you're asking the question, there are thousands of people out there who want to have the answer too. And we're going to do our best to provide the answer. So you in the audience, raise your hand, we'll tell you, yeah, we see you, and we'll get to your question right away. Christi has come up with some great new flavors for our side of this, and Jeff's the master of this. Jeff began sitting in the back of the corner of this room, and he called his wife Rose on the phone, and he said, Rose, you're not going to believe it. If that guy up there can make that ice cream, imagine what I could make. And I'm thinking, that's great, because you want the student to be better than the teacher. And I taught Christi, and now Christi makes a far superior ice cream to me. So it's really fun to see, and same thing happens with all my customers. So Jeff, we're going to let you go first.
Did you mention the next boot camp is October 3rd and 4th?
Oh, yeah. The next boot camp is October 3rd and 4th. Jeff's class is up in the general area of Daytona Beach, so you can fly into Orlando quite easily.
It's right on the beach.
And drive up. It's right on the beach. And it's a 2-day course. It's really excellent. You'll learn a lot. Any knowledge you can gain anywhere. Jeff has a great book learning course. Christi's book will be out this fall. Which is going to be fantastic, but anywhere you can gain information is a great idea. Talking to a military person last week in California, I said, what you need to do is take a few days off and just drive up and down the California coast visiting ice cream parlors. If you go into about 10 ice cream parlors and you pick up just one little thing that you like, I like the decor, or I like how they're handling the price of different products. Anything that you pick up is knowledge. So wherever you can get it, take it.
Okay, their eyes are glazing over.
Then that means it's time for you.
Okay.
So you can glaze over with your eyes.
What happened to our stool?
What stool?
My stool.
Making ice cream.
Okay, we'll make... I hope one of these is open. No. Well, let's open. You don't have your books with you, do you?
No.
What do you mean? How can you answer for them? No, it's all right. All right, I'll open one. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. I'll open this one.
Did you all got the agenda? Jeff's going to move around the schedule of what he's making.
Yeah, we'll make vanilla caramel praline first, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Vanilla caramel praline. I sure hope the recipe's in here. See? Vanilla caramel praline.
Oh, you need bladder.
Yes. There it is, vanilla caramel praline. Did you read it yet? No. You'll never open that book. You got all the cards. Okay, for this great flavor, make the pralines beforehand, which I have done. I slaved all night making these pralines. And store them in the freezer. To make them, spread pecan pieces on a blah, 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 blah. Remove, blah, 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 put them, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what we want to do for this ice cream, it's vanilla caramel praline. So we'd like to pound these down a little rather than ground them up. Look at you.
You could have told
any
me.
plastic bags around?
Ziploc? Yes.
Yeah, great. Plastic bag. Okay, we'll pound these down a little. These are bladders. If you're not familiar with them, this is what your stuff is, your mix is delivered. And I know we hate the word mix. But this is what we make ice cream out of. It's skim milk, milk solids, butterfat. Oh, excellent.
Don't forget half batch.
Hot fudge?
Half batch.
Oh, right. Good. Half batch. So we'll, we're going to go all over the place, so don't worry. Just try to keep up. So we want smaller pieces in the ice cream.
You want a hammer, Jeff?
You got one?
I'll find one. We got a factory. I'm sure I can find a hammer for you.
Yeah, anything. A wrench, a hammer, screwdriver.
You got to get him a hammer.
Okay, what? We didn't make this, did we? No. All right, so vanilla caramel praline. You need the mix. We need vanilla.
Oh, boy.
We need caramel. I like this Lion's caramel. We need caramel. And we need pralines. So there you go. We're going to make, this is a 24 quart, and we're going to make a half batch because I don't take it home, you can't take it home, and there's just too much ice cream. So we'll make a half batch. And you asked how small a batch can you make of these things, right? And what was the answer? No. No. The answer was you don't need to test anything, so you can go right for full batches because you can make them on the counter, right? Just, just testing. All right, so first we'll measure half. These are 10 quarts, these bladders. And this is 10% butterfat. They come in 10%, 12%, 14, 16, 18, and 22. Forget those high ones, too rich. Haagen-Dazs is 16. And that when you taste Haagen-Dazs how thick and creamy that is. So I like 10. 10 is a great butterfat content for here in Florida. Is this working? Can you all hear me? Yeah.
Hey, Mike, do you want to pot down my microphone so it doesn't...
Now, wait a minute. You're going to do that?
Nuts? Yeah.
Okay. Now, we don't want them ground up.
All right. This does not take a medical degree to do.
That's good. That's good. Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'll put it on your bill.
That's perfect. Perfect. So first what we're going to do is measure out. We need how many quarts?
10 quarts of the bladder? No, you want half. 5 quarts.
What a crowd, huh?
Tell us.
Yes, we're going to use 5 quarts. And as you now know, instead of trying to pour this and look over here, simply turn this way, and then it's easier to manipulate. Very quiet.
And why are you doing, did you explain that this is a 24 quart machine, but you're only making a half batch?
Hello?
Yeah? Did you?
Yes, we went over that
Okay.
while you were hammering.
All right.
So we'll go with 5 quarts, or close enough. And we'll dump this in the machine.
Steve, come.
What?
Have Steve come
here a second.
Yes, sir. So this goes in the machine.
Batch for 24, 8 quarts.
We can do 5.
Sure. If you're on camera.
Yeah. Oh.
Vanilla. Oh, rats. Gotta open that. Yes,
Is the machine powered on at the moment, or it's not doing anything, right?
correct.
Okay.
It's on, but it's not running.
But it's not running.
Can opener? All right. Thanks, Ken. Now, I think what we'll do is we'll make this a swirl. We didn't do that, did we? No. Okay. Want to do that now? Then? Okay, we'll make a swirl. Okay. I love these can openers. Don't they work great? Junk. Junk. And I won't even on the air tell you what brand it is, because I would never do that to KitchenAid.
No, of course not.
All right. So we'll save that for the swirl. All right, so all we have to do then is put some vanilla in. How much vanilla do I like to use?
1 ounce.
I like to use 1 ounce per quart. So,
5
good man.
That's good, Sam.
And we use this nice expensive vanilla because
Because it's the best quality.
it's the best quality. The fact that we don't pay for it.
Some people are lucky.
It is excellent vanilla. And they do make, I think he makes 20 some odd flavors of variances of vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll put the machine on. We'll hit the screen, hit ice cream, hit homemade, and hit start. You have a lot of different speeds here, depending on what you're making, whether you're making gelato, ices, on and on. And then we'll add, how many? 5 ounces of vanilla. Okay. And we'll add pecans or pecans. What do you say?
Cons.
In New York, we grew up, there were pecans. All right. Oh, there's still a brand new machine.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Oh, how much do we add? Whatever you got. Can't have too many pecans, can you? Right?
Definitely never not enough.
That's it.
times.
Now, because I always like to, before I put the refrigeration on, I like to see what it tastes like. Ooh, we're going to like that. Now we put the refrigeration on. You hear the compressor coming on? And now water will start to come into the sink here from the machine. Got it. It's a water-cooled machine. There's a line of water going into the back and a line coming out. Some places, if you're in California like Bruce, you can reclaim the water
Anything yet?
because water is a problem out there. Everything's a problem out there. Until you get rid of that nutcase.
No politics. None.
Mike,
That's not politics, that's the truth.
it's not politics, it's the truth. Okay, so there we go. Now, because we're going to make a variegate. What's a variegate? A variegate, remember when we were kids and you got vanilla fudge ice cream? That was a big flavor growing up. And it was white with swirls of chocolate going through it. That's a variegate. We're going to make a variegate here with caramel running through it. So we'll have vanilla ice cream with pralines strewn about, swirled in caramel. Oh, to get better than that? And to do that, we use, hey, where are my squishy buckets? One squishy bucket. We're down to one.
Would you explain to people they can't buy this because they keep calling me up? This is
Okay,
This is Jeff's doing.
To make the variegate, you'll see how we make it, but it's imperative that we have a squishy bucket. And believe it or not, you can't buy them. You can't buy them. The only place to get them is if you're going to get them. You can't buy them, which is great. And I have 3 at the store, and you should have had 3 also. Now, these you can get. You can get these, and these will crack after 1 or 2 uses, but hey, it's all right. You get 1 or 2 uses out of them, right? I feel like you're grading me today. But should we try to use this one? No. You're on your own. Squishy bucket. Yes.
So the machine's running right now. Are you timing it at all for the rest
No,
of the
you
time,
can't
or-
time the machine. It has a timer on it.
Okay.
As soon as you hit the freezing, it starts the timer. But you really can't time it because everything takes different times. This will take about 9 minutes, 9 minutes. And if you make other items with more sugar in it, it'll take up. We made one yesterday, it took 22 minutes. So, and if you have a timer, what it allows you to do is not focus. It allows you, I'll read my book, I'll be on the phone, I'll play Angry Birds till that. Can't do that because inevitably you're going to forget the machine. Steve uses a timer that he sets before it's ready.
Right.
Just to kick him in the butt and say, hey, remember you got ice cream going on.
You got busy, you have other things doing, people come in and distract you, which you should tell them I'm making ice cream, don't bother me. But you have a great timer right here. And so if it's going to be approximately 8 minutes, you set it for 6, and then you can go do whatever you want. If you're trying to get production done, instead of talking to a crowd, you're starting to measure out your flavors, your mix for the next batch, getting your flavors ready. Timer goes off, you go, oh, yeah, I got to check the machine. And you go back. It's only been 6 minutes, but you take a little look and see how it's doing. What differentiates the time of how long it's going to take is the sugar content. The higher the sugar content of a product, the longer it'll take to freeze. So we put pralines in, they have sugar in them, that will affect the freezing time. If you put butterscotch in there, that's going to raise it, or even strawberries. So there is no set time for making it, but you have a close approximation, 8 minutes for vanilla, 10 minutes maybe for a high sugar content product. So use your, in the old days we'd say it was a great excuse to go out and buy a Rolex because you could write it off on your taxes and say, well, it's critical to making ice cream. Now you've got the iPhone and you just set your countdown timer for 6 or 7 minutes and you can go do other stuff. I have frozen up the CB350 more times than I can count because I didn't set a timer.
And believe it or not, this is only 5.5 minutes.
It's a half batch.
Hey.
If it was a full batch, it would be 8 minutes.
Yeah. And now, there it is. Beautiful. Looks good enough to eat.
Yeah, I want to try it.
And now I shut it off, and what's in there between the dasher, which are the blades spinning, and it's now settling a little bit, gravity. And now I'll hit it again, and we'll get the last bit of it. Because as you know, what you're looking at is not ice cream. What is it? It's money. Everything you leave in the machine is coming out of your pocket. It's just pure profit. Even if it's one serving and you're selling it for $5 or $6, how many batches do you make in a year? Okay, we're good. Now to make the big squish, we're going to take the caramel and just pour it over the top. And then we take a nice big spatula and give it a few turns. And because we have a squishy bucket, we can squeeze the bucket as we pour it. And you see what you got? You got a nice swirl going through it.
Perfect.
And you get to try it. You can probably figure out how to do it without a squishy bucket. Or, oh, I can sell these. No, just kidding.
Without the bucket, what you can do is you can open the gate halfway so it comes out a little slower, or you can slow down the speed on the infinite overrun control to get it to come out slower. And as it's coming out, you pre-measure your butterscotch into another container because we don't want to contaminate the whole container. And you dip your spatula into the butterscotch and then swirl it through a gallon of ice cream. Open the gate, take out another gallon, dip it, swirl it, dip it, swirl it. This is certainly easier, but that's the way you do it without having a bucket that is bendable because we can't find them anywhere. But that's the way it was always done.
I'll tell you where I used to be able to get them. A company online called PlasticContainerCity.com. Clever name. PlasticContainerCity.com. They have every kind of plastic containers. You used to be able to get these. Now you can't. But call the guy up. Tell him, if enough people call him up, we'll get them. And everybody wants these, right?
And when you ask for a squishy bucket, he's going to go, huh?
Yeah, he'll say, my wife isn't home.
Yeah.
All right. This I'm taking back with me. I promised somebody.
Oh, good.
And so now you'll get to taste this stuff, see what you think. Should be good. Looks good, doesn't it?
Great.
And it's easy to make. I mean, how many ingredients are we talking about? Mix, little vanilla, crushed praline, done.
I have a question about the extract. Is that pure vanilla extract?
It's
Yes.
that particular one is an all-natural vanilla extract. It's about $130 a gallon, maybe a little higher or more. If you buy pure vanilla, it's about $700. And I can't taste the difference between pure vanilla and all-natural vanilla. And from a marketing standpoint, which is what I'm always keenly aware of, is how are we going to sell it, all-natural comes across sounding very good. In fact, we always try to make our ice creams as all-natural as we can. Stayed away from organic because organic didn't sell. Nobody could afford organic. But the all-natural is a good way to go. And this company Blockhead Vanilla only makes vanilla. That's all they do. And so it's really the best that I've ever found. And the taste is there, yes.
What kind of vanilla is it? Is it Madagascar, Tahitian?
Let's see what it
Madagascar.
says. Is it Madagascar?
Yeah, they own most of Madagascar.
Yeah,
Reach.
Yes.
It's Madagascar.
yeah.
This is fabulous. This is so tasty. You know, I've tasted a lot of ice cream in the shop, but this is unique.
No, you've been to other stores that sell what they call ice cream. I'm not being facetious here. We talked about this in class a lot.
That's good.
It's what we make. That's why when I opened up in Daytona Beach, I opened up on the same block as a ice cream institution. Been there 20 some odd years. Beautiful building right on the beach, and I opened up a half a block away. And everybody said, "What are you doing? You can't do that. Competition." And I said, "There is no competition. We make this product. Nobody else makes it." You've never tasted anything like that.
Yeah, I don't see it.
You know, and you're so right, because, you know,
Say that a little louder. It's true,
I
though.
went to like established places, like, you think they have really great ice cream that, you know, you can actually taste there are so many chemicals nowadays.
That's the biggest mistake people make is they underflavor the product. That was something Jeff taught me a long time ago. You don't want to eat, or get right to it, you don't want to be, I like coffee. I like a strong coffee ice cream. If you're a tea drinker, you're not going to buy my coffee ice cream. So I want it to grow hair on your spleen. I want it so strong. So you go out and buy Breyers right now, and it's coffee colored, and it barely tastes like coffee. So, you know, what's the bother? I mean, why bother with it? I'm going to go to a homemade ice cream business that says homemade, all made on the premises, and they're probably following my formula, and they're going to make a spectacular coffee. People tend to underflavor ice cream. They say, "Oh, we got to cut the cost a little bit." Don't cut the cost. Don't cut the cost of the product. Raise your price. Always give them the very best that you can. That is absolutely essential. That's why they're coming to you, and not to Kilwins or Baskin Robbins or some commercial place like that. They're coming to you because you make an incredibly spectacular ice cream. And we can talk butterfat content and overrun content all day long. The only thing that matters is flavor. Without a strong flavor, you don't have a great ice cream. There was a lady over here with a question. Yes?
What consistency are you looking for to determine that the product is ready when it's coming out of the machine?
A good question. In case the microphone didn't pick it up, what consistency am I looking for when it comes out? I open the gate and close it quickly. Just up, down, up, like that. Just up and down. And if it oozes out, it's not ready. If it cuts off like a knife went through it, it's ready. I turn off the refrigeration and pull it out.
No,
if
it is subjective. He'll pull it before you do. Steve, I pull it before Steve does. I like mine a little softer than Steve does coming out of the machine. And there's an infinite number of degrees of time where you can do it. You'll find your comfort level and your desired quality level.
But it's not difficult. It's not difficult at
No.
all. But I'll get the phone call Sunday night at 8:30, and you'll say, "I made my first batch of vanilla, and I put 2.5 gallons of mix in, and I got 3 gallons of ice cream out. What's wrong? It was supposed to give me 5 gallons. You froze it too long." A misconception is that it should come out of the machine ready to go onto a cone. That's not the way this is. It's not a soft ice cream machine. It's such a big barrel, it's got to flow out in 45 seconds max to empty the machine, or you've frozen it too stiff. So that's just a minor adjustment. And you know, it's like anything brand new. It's a new toy. You play with it for a day or two, and you'll be a professional, and you'll be telling everybody the great lie that these recipes came from your great-great-grandmother who passed them down through generation after generation when they actually came from me.
Yes, sir.
So it came out X consistency. After you throw it in your batch freezer and all that, does it change the consistency over time as it's sitting?
Well, it gets firmer.
More firm.
Sure.
Right.
We're going to take it down to solid as a rock.
Right.
Because that's going to Number one, it's going to enhance the flavor. It's going to taste weak right now. It's going to be stronger tomorrow. But I can put it into a blast freezer, our blast freezer, and it'll go to 25 below zero, and it's going to be good in there for months.
Can you control the consistency once it's done and it's in a batch freezer? Like if
This is the batch freezer.
I mean, in like a sitting
Only
freezer.
by melting and thawing.
Yeah, it's once it's made, it's made. It's like you're asking, can I take a blueberry pie and once it's made, can I change its
Right, but
consistency? No, you can't.
Can you alter the contents of your mix in order for it to freeze a certain,
No.
Okay.
So what you're trying to get at is you're trying to remake the product itself. If you want a sweeter product, you can add more sugar to it when you're making it. I've had customers who do that. Ben & Jerry's is sweeter than Haagen-Dazs. I put both businesses into business. Ben & Jerry's is definitely more sweet than Haagen-Dazs. Some people like that. I don't. I think it takes away from the flavor. But you can do that. But what you're going to do in what we call in the dairy industry is you're going to throw the mix off balance. If you're baking a birthday cake and you decide to add an extra half a pound of flour, it won't be better. It'll be dry. It just won't be good at all. There was a question over here. Yes?
Yes, and watching your videos, I noticed in some of the recipes you created, when you had, for example, pecans, you put some in chunks, and it was delicious, super flavor there. But I noticed in some of your videos, you would put some in some of the product also in the Ninja to infuse it throughout. Have you ever tried on this recipe to infuse the
No, I think you liked getting some chunks in there,
Oh, no,
right?
both. I'm talking about having the chunks and then it infused to get the flavor, because you all talk about...
Well, that's what we did by pounding it.
But I've come up with two terms I call fruit flavor and fruit identity. So if I'm using, say, strawberry, and I'm going to use 2 quarts of strawberries, I'm putting 1 quart into the machine knowing that the machine is going to grind it up like a Cuisinart. So that if I was blindfolded and tasted that, I'd say, yeah, I know that strawberry, I can taste it. But you look at it and it's pale pink and you go, where's the beef? Where are the strawberries? So I'm adding my second half of strawberries as it's coming out. Some products, like we're going to be coming into Christmas fairly soon, and I'm going to make candy cane ice cream. I'm going to take those candy canes and grind them into a powder in the Ninja, because I am deathly afraid of a small infant who's going to love candy cane ice cream getting a shard of candy cane in their throat. So I am going to knock that off the tape. I'm going to grind it up completely. But you lose something when you completely pulverize it. You lose texture. And we want the texture of the flavor too. Yes, back in the way back.
My question isn't about consistency. I'm from Sarasota County, a couple hours south of here, and there's a creamery down there. You probably heard of it. They make the news. Big Olaf Creamery.
Yeah.
There's a big listeria breakout, and it's all to do with their wholesalers and whatnot. How do we guard against something like that happening?
It's very simple, because this one just drives the heck out of me. This happened about 4 years ago with Jenny's Delicious, and it happened with my favorite company we put in business in 1910, Bluebell. They both had the same problem. And the first night it came out, I got a lot of phone calls because I'm supposed to know this stuff. And I got a lot of phone calls. It had a tall lady, attractive lady, standing in a field in high heels with a microphone next to a cow. And she's going, "Is Bessie giving you listeria?" And I'm screaming at the TV going, "Hell no!" And it wasn't in the dairy. The dairy is pasteurized. The machine is sanitized. It was a bad middle management person who opened up a box of chocolate chips or pralines or whatever you want, opened up the box, took out what he wanted, poured it in the machine, and then at the end of the day, he left. The box was left open. It was on a low shelf or the floor. The rats got in it. The rats pooped in it. And that went into the ice cream. Animals can bring in listeria. Humans can bring in listeria on your feet from the ground. But we're immune to it for the most part at low levels of walking around and picking up listeria. But it's borne by rodents and animals, and that guy should have been fired on the spot because he didn't seal the bag and put it up. So when they made that big deal about Big Olaf, saying, oh, it's the dairy, or it's the way he's making it. Yes, it was the way he was making it, but it wasn't the dairy. The dairy was pure, which gets me into my next flavor. Christi sanitized all these machines before we started this morning, and then nobody's touched them since then. So you want to tell them about that, Christi?
About sanitizing?
And the Sterashine and all?
Sure. I was just going to get the cap off of that for you.
Okay.
So before you go to run any product into your machines, at the end of the day, you need to sanitize it, and at the beginning of the day. And every county, every state is different. So always check with your local health department, see what the rules are, the regulations. Anytime you go to take this door off or you go to open it, you have to sanitize it again. That I do know is for every county. So you just mix a little bit of this with some water. The directions are on the container, but obviously we don't follow that direction. So we just dump a scoop in, mix it, and then pour it in, and then we flush it with clean water afterwards. Following the directions would probably save you a lot more Sterashine than what we go through.
And that kills off all bacteria, absolutely everything in the machine. And as long as you don't open the door and physically reach in there, you don't have to re-sanitize. So if I plan my production, vanilla, strawberry, raspberry, Bordeaux cherry, black raspberry, I don't have to rinse the machine at all. I can just go from light flavor to dark. And as long as I'm not reaching in there, I'm not contaminating anything. If I'm going to take an hour break for lunch, yeah, I'm going to re-sanitize, just out of abundance of caution. But unless you reach in there and touch the mechanical parts, everything in there is sterile. Here's my formula for something I've never made before. If you watch my videos, I am famous for experimenting, which means some of them are absolutely god-awful.
There was one.
I have made some terrible products.
Oh, that's the only one
that
I know of. Those aren't our containers.
That part of this business is fun, that you're going to experiment with something new and just say, well, that combination doesn't work. So Paula's niece was at a store over in Jupiter and found these toasted coconut cookies. They're very thin and they're just loaded with flavor. And I said, that'll make a great ice cream. And then let's add a chocolate swirl to it. And so I said, great, we'll go out and get some Hershey's and squirt it in. And Christi said, Steve, you are so low class. We'll go get Ghirardelli. And so this is the chocolate that Jeff recommends. You know, this started off as a small company on Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco. And now they have a great website and you can buy all sorts of great products from it. Ghirardelli is really fantastic stuff. So we're going to squirt that in as it's made. Let's see. First, we need 3.5 quarts of mix.
This mix that we're using is the Meadowvale Clean Label mix. This is 16% butterfat. What Jeff was using is 10%, which is what normally we stick with here down in the South, because if you have a high butterfat here in the South, it's kind of heavy, makes you sick, it's really hot here, everybody knows how that goes. There is a data sheet in your booklet that has the information about this clean label. A lot of customers I've been hearing, they want to be natural, they want to have no artificial ingredients, they don't want any preservatives. Well, Meadowvale, once again, has succeeded and made a clean label. So the ingredients are on that sheet, and it's a really great product.
The all-natural is really important wherever you can do it. You can't always do it. But I mean, if you're going to make bubblegum Italian ice, I tell people our bubblegum trees here in Florida got blown down in the last hurricane, so we can't go out and pick bubblegum off the trees. So we have to use an artificial bubblegum extract. So if that's something that you want to make for the kids, that's fine. But people will know what it is that you're making. But anytime you can do natural is great. I don't like a chemical called polysorbate 80. I don't like maltodextrin. These are both horrible chemicals. But I have no problem with guar gum. Guar is a gum. Carrageenan is seaweed. If you need to preserve the length of the product, I see nothing wrong with that at all. You can go down the purest level to where it drives you crazy. One lady told me my cane sugar wasn't pure because I wasn't going down to the Virgin Islands and shucking my own cane and then scraping the sugar out of it. So you can go overboard. It is. Because I used to shuck.
Yes, I know. I have pictures of you on the plantation.
I was in a big factory.
What's the difference in price between the clean label one and the traditional one? Is there a big difference?
No.
It's just the process.
It's all going to run you about $50 for 2 bladders.
Okay.
See, the dairies were trying to make a product that they could put on the shelf for months and months. And the old-fashioned way of doing it was with chemicals. Now what they do is you make a clean label, and they're doing ultra-high temperature pasteurization. I can buy milk now. If I buy regular supermarket milk, it's going to be bad in about 10 days or less. I can buy organic milk now, which I prefer, and it's got a 35 or 40-day shelf life. It was ultra-high temperature pasteurized. And that's the trend that we're going. We're making a giant step backwards to my grandparents, where the quality of the product is better than it's been in years. I mean, it's amazing, and it's the way to go. So I'm going to pour in the mix. I found that if you rest the bucket on the lid like this, it's going to tend to spill. But if you raise it up a little bit, you won't spill anything. Now I'm blind in one eye, so if I can do this, you'll have much less trouble than me. But that's the little secret. Instead of putting it down here, raise it up a little bit.
Funny story. So I got into the habit of pouring mix in like that, right? So my husband and I, a couple weeks ago or so, he was pouring a shot, and I was holding the vodka bottle up high, and he goes, "It's not an Emery Thompson, Christi." And I made a mess everywhere.
We hired Christi's husband, Mickey. He's an engineer, and that's helping us to expand the business even more. So we've always said we're a family business. Now we're a multi-family business.
Yep, that's very true.
My formula. So now I'm going to add some 2 ounces of vanilla, and I'm actually going to measure it because one way or the other, I am paying for it. And I don't want it. I want to have it exact. So every single batch, whether it's today or 5 years from now, if you taste this and I made it, it will be the same.
You're saying that my
Yes, I am.
freehanding it wasn't a true 5 ounces.
Oh, who knows what it was. I think it was probably a lot more because you said it was free. There is no free.
There is no free.
Nope. Nope. Okay, 2 ounces, right in like that. Always use plastic in your ice cream room. You could buy this in Pyrex, and glass. And if you dropped it, it'll break in 2 pieces. You could put them back together. You say no harm, no foul. I can't take the risk as a business owner. Even though I've got a dust guard there, if I broke, and if you've ever broken a wine glass in your house, you know that when you drop it, it shatters. So you're picking up shards in the kitchen and the living room and the dining room. The Pyrex in glass is only going to break in 2 pieces. But if you don't have glass in the room, you never have to worry about it. So even though that's closed and this is plastic, if I broke a glass here, I would dump this batch. I just wouldn't want to take the risk. So the best way not to have any risk is only use plastic. Now we'll start this up. I am going to go to make ice cream. I'm going to hit homemade. You have a series of choices here. This is my invention of 22 years ago. I call it the infinite overrun control. And basically, if you take a bucket, heavy cream, and poured it in this bucket and stirred it by hand, it's going to remain heavy cream. If I take an electric mixer and put it in here, it's going to blow up to whipped cream. So the slower you turn, the less air you put in the product. So this machine and none other on the market can do homemade, or I can slow it down to super premium. I can slow it down to dairy free. I can slow it even slower to gelato. Frozen custard is the lowest speed. We also have yogurt in there. And then we have Italian ice, sorbet, sorbetto, frozen lemonade, cream ice, sherbet, manual speed. And all that is for naught when you talk to an executive chef, because they know more than anybody on earth. I hope there's no executive chefs here. They don't care what I've preset it at. They want to be able to do it themselves. If I'm running at 160, they want 158. So we accommodated them on that too. And we have a manual setting where you can just tap it down. So I've got my mix in here. I'm going to hit homemade and start. And refrigeration. And my timer has started on the machine, so I know what's going on. Yes?
Steve, thank you. On the air content overrun, can you give us a brief explanation of how that affects the texture, taste, creaminess of the ice cream?
The less air, the more dense the ice cream. So a lot of people come in here and they say, I understand that Haagen-Dazs is 45% overrun. I want 35% overrun. Okay, we can do that, but there's trade-offs to everything. This has an X amount of cost, this bag of mix. If I can put 2.5 gallons into a machine or 3 gallons in and get 6 back, that's cutting my cost in half. So if this costs $10 of mix, now it costs me $5 of ice cream. So that's a key factor. The other and more important thing is when I make a maximum air content ice cream. And again, nobody ever walked out of an ice cream parlor and said, you know what, that's the best damn air content I ever ate. You know, they just don't do it. Or I love the fat content that Jeff's running. It's just wonderful. They don't say that. They say, wow, that mint chip of Steve's was really minty and the chips weren't chalky. They eat flavor. The other two are background noise. Basically in air, it's the difference between a birthday cake and a pound cake. A pound cake is low air content ice cream. A birthday cake is high air content. And I ask any one of you, who wants to go back and get a second piece of pound cake?
Do you want me to add the whole bag?
Do you have the other bag?
It's right there. You just opened it.
Yeah. Christi's going to just...
Whole bag?
Whole bag. Christi's going to throw the cookies in. The machine's going to grind them up. And there's my flavor right there. That's it. Nothing else is needed. So low air content ice cream is going to be very dense. Let me show you. What'd you say that was, 5 ounces?
5.5.
Okay, that's a 5.5 ounce cup. If I fill that up, it's going to, at a high air content, it's going to be falling out of the cup. I'm going to feel like I got that's $5. I feel like I really got my money's worth for that ice cream. If I do a low air content ice cream, it's going to fill it a little more than halfway, or a little less than halfway. Wow, I paid $5 for that. You know, the perceived value isn't there. But the real thing that Haagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry found out, and Haagen-Dazs went full force and closed all their stores. Ben & Jerry still has a couple open, they say only for advertising purposes, they like their name out there. But all those stores closed, they failed. And they failed because the ice cream is so dense, the portion looks small, the price is high, and as you eat it, you start to get really full. And they noticed that outside their store was a garbage can, and it was filling up with half-eaten cups because the stuff lay like lead in your stomach. Now, it has a place. It's terrific in pints. I like a lower air content in pints because you're taking it home, and you don't care what it costs. I don't care if it's $7, $8, $9. I'm going to buy a pint for myself, and I'm going to buy a pint for my wife Paula because I can't come home with without a pint for her. And I'm going to pick at it. I'm going to have a little when I first get home, some after dinner, a small portion because we just had a nice meal, and at 10:30 at night I'm stealing another portion. So you pick away at it. But it's looking at you can't just say I'm a purist and I want this. You have to say I'm a purist and can I sell this? Yes.
No, just to add on to that question. So, can you set a particular percentage of, like, let's say, 40% on the machine, or
you alter it by just changing the speed. So, homemade is 100% overrun. I've got it set at super premium. I think is 60 or 65. Gelato is about 45. Custard, frozen custard is about 35, and that's as low as you can go. Because milk, and anybody tells you, oh, our ice cream has no air in it, they have no clue what they're talking about. Just walk away from them, they have no idea. Because this is mainly water. I mean, it's in the form of milk, but it's water. And if you take water and you freeze it, if you have a wood boat in Lake Michigan and freeze over the lake, that boat's going to get crushed because water expands 17%.
I said it smells good.
Oh, good. 17% is 34% overrun. So below 34% overrun, unless you're sealing the system off, can't happen. Certainly not in a batch freezer. So you're always going to have air in ice cream. Italian ices only expand a small amount because there's no dairy in it. Dairy-free doesn't expand very much. But dairy is fat cells, and they, just like cream, they explode up. Yes?
Good question. When
you see that? I'm sorry.
When would you turn on the freezer? And let me rephrase that. How would you decide when to turn on the freezer and then throw in those crackers, or throw in while it's still spinning?
It's always spinning. It's spinning from.
When the ice cream gets a little thicker, a third of the way through the process, you can see it getting a little thicker. Then if you add things, the integrity will be sustained when it comes out. If you add them in the beginning, it'll crush everything up. If you add them a third of the way through, when the ice cream is thickening, it'll maintain the snappy and the cracky and the poppy.
It depends on the ingredient going in. Chocolate chips are never going to change. These cookies here, dust. As soon as it hits the beaters, it's going to grind them up. So that in the dairy is going to be a fantastic flavor, but that's why I'm going to throw in pieces of cookie at the end. This is my fruit flavor. This is my identity. Oh, these are good.
Are they?
Yeah. Well, you were eating them.
No, I didn't. I didn't have one.
So I'm just checking it, see how it looks. It's been 6 minutes and 42 seconds. Question, yeah.
On this subject of adding things in, maybe a third of the way through or whatever to maintain the integrity of the pretzel of the work. Maybe it's because I've had some cheap ice cream that was really old, but sometimes some of those items like the cereal or something after they've been in the freezer can almost come out chewy instead of crunchy.
Mushy.
Yeah.
And
that's disgusting. How do you prevent that?
You can't improve on it. We have tried. Jeff has made different cereals. Some cereals work, others don't. Grape nuts work great because they're little hard, nuggets. But Cocoa Puffs, Captain Crunch, none of them worked.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
The Cinnamon Toast Crunch, they were great when it came out of the machine. Everybody goes, yay, it's terrific. But then the day later, it's just like eating, dough. It was awful. It was one of our. We've tried so many different ways. Have you had any success,
The only
Jeff?
real way to combat that is at the serving point. If you're making Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which is a great flavor in ice cream, great flavor. So keep a bucket of those on the counter, and when they're scooping Cinnamon Toast Crunch, put some on top. That's the only way to get around that. You ought to take my class.
I'm going to need another one of those.
Not ready yet.
So this is the next best thing to a squeezy, or a squishy thing. This is the Ghirardelli sea salt caramel, and it comes with a little, what did they call it in the center here?
That's like a squeeze spout, or you can do
It has a valve in it.
ketchup or mustard bottles. Those work.
This is a squeeze valve in it, so as you pour, it's going to help push it, squeeze it out, and it's going to give you a nice ribbon of putting it in. And so that's the way we're going to do the variegate, is I'm going to put a little bit in the bottom of the container for there, and then as it comes out, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to slow the drive down so that I can have more time to work with it. So you don't need to buy a $3,500 door as an accessory like another company tried. I'm just going to, look, I hear it? I can just tap that speed down to whatever I want. It's a simple idea, the invention, but it's an invention because nobody's ever done it before. You can't just take a light dimmer and put it onto a machine because your motor loses all its power, all its what we call torque or pulling power. When I lower the speed of this, that motor is still the same strength. And this has been around, coming up on 23 years, my invention. I did this back in the Bronx.
Some people like the, go ahead.
Supporting with the homemade, there are two different products.
You mean in the same cabinet?
No, I mean in the same store selling because the scopes would be different.
No, you have to decide what overrun you're going to do and stay there. Sure.
I can't mix them up.
No, only a supermarket can sell premium cheeses and store-bought cheeses. You have to have the highest quality level that you want, and that's what you sell. In fact, I was talking with a fireman who I'm putting into business, and he said, what if I make a cheaper product for my fire company to give out it when we're doing fundraisers? And I said, I had a boss that said, if you're going to sell a product, only sell your very best. Don't give away the ice cream to the fire department or the police department or the church at a lower quality level, because it's your reputation that's talking all day long. You make only the best, and that's what you sell.
You ready?
We don't have lesser brands of Emery Thompson.
You want to pull it?
Is it ready? Okay,
pull?
now I'm going to slow it down. And if you'll open that part way, I'll get this. A little faster. A little faster.
Look what's going on.
Okay, shut it off.
Look. See how beautiful mine was?
Now if you'll level that out for me. Thank you. I think I would have preferred your other bottle. But this works. Okay. Now, if you don't have two people, what you can do is just take out about a half a gallon and then squeeze it in and use a spatula. You can shut that off. A little more over here, and then I'll top it off.
Top it off.
No, I'm gonna just take a little more.
Why waste time?
If you'll just spread that out a little. Great.
The other container is above the...
Yeah, I'll just do that separately. Okay. And that's what we have.
It's a beautiful
Looks
thing.
pretty good. Whoa.
Yeah, it still looks good
Sammy,
on the floor.
Call the dog.
Was that this one?
You
Where
want
did
to
that come from?
serve that up, and
Yep.
I'll clean this up.
You stole my napkins.
Call maintenance.
I am maintenance. These containers are from a company called gelatosupply.com, G-E-L-A-T-O supply.com. And if you use the code Emery Thompson, you'll get a 10% discount. These are liners for the big, heavy stainless steel pans. Let me show you one.
Can you say the name?
Right there.
Gelatosupply.com.
I need to get a scoop behind you. I'm sorry.
See, these are what they use in gelato stores. I like these. The insert, they're very inexpensive. And if I go into a restaurant and try to sell them my ice cream, Haagen-Dazs comes in and they say, oh yeah, you know, they got a big ego. And they hire some guy right off the college football team. And he says, we will deliver you, chef, 10 tubs once every 2 weeks. And the chef thinks, well, the boss just shortened my kitchen so he could add, 10 more tables. It's getting really tight in here. Where am I going to put 10 of these tubs? And how do I know 8 days from now what flavor I want? You walk in and you do it in these containers. And the beauty is, if they're all plastic, for the size of that one tub, I can go 2 here and 2 here. So I can give them many more flavors. It's a smaller container, so we can have lots more flavors. And they're easier to scoop. A round scoop, you're going like this, and that will give you carpal tunnel syndrome, something awful, going like that. Your employees won't do it. You'll tell them, you roll the ice cream into the scoop, and they'll go, the heck with that. As soon as the boss leaves, it's north to south. You have all the strength in your biceps, so you're scooping like that. Don't ever get in a fight, gentlemen, with a lady who works in an ice cream parlor. But these, easy to scoop, like that. And the chef is not going to return your containers. He doesn't have the space. And he sure doesn't want to keep them because they're going to attract bugs. So he's throwing them right out. These are inexpensive enough that you can throw them out. And the 10% discount also helps by saying emerythompson.com. They also have great, some really nice fluted cups that you can get. So Christi's going to give this out, and we'll see how it is.
I got to find me a scooping spoon and hide it from you guys.
Use a spade.
There's not one over there.
Oh. Something like this is great for scooping too, because it's flat, especially for Italian ice, because the scoop with Italian ice locks up. It gets too cold and it won't release. So a spade like that is nice and easy.
Sorry guys, Mike first.
Steve.
You want to just top them off each with a cookie?
Sure. I can do that.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. You told us about the effects of overrun air content in ice cream. Can you speak for a moment on the effect of butter fat in ice cream?
Sure.
The 10, the 12s, etc.
Butter fat or milk fat. Ice cream is made from milk, cream, sugar, and skim milk. That's all you need. Milk, cream, sugar, skim milk. And heavy cream is usually somewhere around 32% fat. Nobody is ever going to want to eat 32% fat. And that's a misconception that shows up in Good Housekeeping or any other magazine that has a home recipe. They're using heavy cream, sugar, and flavor. That stuff's not edible. It might be fine for the first couple of minutes, but it's just going to lay like lead in your stomach. The federal government, and so it's milk fat is the percentage of milk, cream, sugar, and skim milk all combined. And the federal government says it has to be 10% milk fat or butter fat in order for it to be called ice cream. Every percentage you go up, Haagen-Dazs is 16, Ben & Jerry is 16. And a good example is whole milk is 4% milk fat. Let's see what this is. Okay, whole milk is 4% fat. This is reduced fat milk, low fat milk. That's 2%. Now there's a world of difference in taste between whole milk 4% and 2% low fat. So a 2% jump from 10 to 12 to 12 to 14, 14 to 16 makes a big difference. When I came down to Florida 18 years ago, I was surprised how few ice cream parlors there were. And the reason I finally figured out after a lot of years is we New Yorkers, New Englanders, Chicagoans, Seattle people, we all come down to Florida and we bring our high-fat ice cream theories with us. And a 16% fat or 14 on a 90-degree day with 90% humidity is going to give you a stomach ache and make you sweat like you wouldn't believe. I guess they've come up with a new term, meat sweats, and that's where you go out and eat a side of beef at Ruth Chris and then walk out in the sun. It'll kill you. So the ice cream didn't sell well because it was too heavy on your stomach. So I took us down to 10%, the federal minimum, and compensated for it for, again, nobody walks out and says, gee, that was the best fat content I ever had. I run 10% here in Florida and add a lot of flavor. But if you call up and say, where do I get 10% in Michigan? My answer will be, you ought to be running 12 or 14 in Michigan. It's colder up there, and the people up there are used to the higher fat. So a certain fat content is not a rule across the ice cream world. It's what you like. I would bring in, depending on where you are, a couple of different fat levels, run vanilla, and only you know which is which, and then do a taste test and see which people like it. Jeff, you had a great story about your 10% with the people not believing that it was 10%.
I don't recall.
You don't recall?
No.
The guy came into your store and said, this must be 14%.
Huh.
And it was only 10.
No, the story I recall is that I've been using 10% for 15 years, 14 years. And one point, my supplier delivered, he came to the door and, I get so many cases. And he said, we don't have 10, we brought 12. So I said, okay, I'll try it. And I threw it out. I made one batch and threw it out. It was too much. I didn't like it at all.
Too heavy?
Yeah, it was just not, in my opinion, flavor is number one. Texture and consistency, number two. And in my experience, and I'm probably wrong, Steve would know, the higher the butterfat content, the less flavor you're going to get from the ice cream. Just what I found. And you have to compensate by adding much more flavor to it.
That's right.
Is
Because
it?
you're eating fat.
Yeah.
You're only tasting fat, so you've
Yeah.
got to put in twice as much
Right,
flavor.
and I found that my recipes weren't translating to 12%, and that's only 2% difference. But I threw out the batch, returned the rest, and waited till I got my 10.
We do stupid things for stupid reasons. We New Yorkers, when we came down here, or if I was going to open up an ice cream parlor in New York, and Jeff is already in business in New York City on 67th Street and 2nd Avenue, and he's got this great store, he's doing well, and he's running 14% butterfat. Well, I'm the new kid on the block. I'm gonna open up and I'm gonna sell 16%. Why? So I can brag that I'm the richest ice cream in New York. But the bottom line is, it's not the best ice cream. It's too much fat. So you have to take some of your preconceived notions of, well, if Haagen-Dazs is 40% overrun, I'm going to have no air. You know, it doesn't fly. It doesn't work as a product. Yes.
So would you change the butterfat content based on like temperature? Because you said your store is on Daytona Beach where it's warm and
Well,
humid.
what I really meant and what Steve explained to me is that in the heat outside, after you eat a high butterfat content ice cream, you feel, whoa.
Yeah.
That's why in the southern climates, I'd say south of South Carolina, across the country, everybody's doing 10% because it's not comfortable after you eat a large portion to be in the heat. If you're sitting by your TV in the house, eat away.
Yes.
So I'm in the Philippines. We don't have, the mix pre-made in those bags.
Right.
So in my situation, I spoke to Christi. She gave me the recipe of making my own mix.
Mm-hmm.
But I have no idea what the butterfat content is. Is that something that you can only determine by making and tasting? And the other thing is, how do you control that? I'm just taking milk and adding skim milk and sugar and vanilla. How do I be able to control it? I don't understand how you control it.
Buy the powdered mix.
Hmm?
Buy the powdered mix. Simple. Two companies make it. Fabry makes it, and the Amish people make it. You buy the bags of powder, piece of cake. You get almost as good a mix as we use. Sorry.
Where you are in the Philippines and you're already in business and you're already selling ice cream, if everybody loves it, then just stick to that formula. Your ice cream is going to be very low in fat, lower than the U.S. would call ice cream, and higher in sugar. But if it's a refreshing product and they like it and you've got it written down on a 3x5 file card, fine. Because any mix, whether powdered, liquid, or whatever, it's going to cost you a fortune to bring to the Philippines. So you use what local ingredients you've got, and you're still going to be better than everybody else's because you're making it homemade and it's got a ton of flavor in it. It all comes back to the flavor. Anybody else? Anybody? Yeah, go ahead.
That toasted coconut was really good, by the way. It was delicious.
Thank you.
My question is this. We're scooping ice cream, right, from 2.5 or 3 gallon containers.
Yeah.
Let's say I had the CD350. That's a 6-quart machine, right?
Yes.
So when you make it, you run it. Are you dumping that ice cream? For lack of a better word, are you placing that ice cream into that 2.5 or 3 gallon bucket?
Yeah.
Putting that bucket into the hardening cabinet right away.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go with another batch so you can fill that 3 gallon container, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there, so it goes in the cabinet, 15, 20 minutes later, whatever, you're pulling it out.
8 minutes, 8 to 10.
And then you're just flowing that ice cream onto the one that's hardening already.
Sure.
Okay.
Because even at the 25 below zero super cold hardening cabinet that we sell, as cold as anything on the market, nothing's going to happen in 10 minutes. Nothing's going to happen in 40 minutes. It just takes that longer to freeze ice cream. No, it's not going to change texture, taste, or anything. No, it's one of the most asked questions. So it's very good. Yeah, you're going to fill it halfway and then fill the other halfway. Which machine you buy is always going to depend on what you can afford and what your future plans are. If you're going to be, just making it out of your kitchen to give to your friends, then you can stay with one size machine. If you're going to go into business I actually had a guy on social media berate me because he said I was purposely selling people countertop machines, knowing damn well they were going to have to buy a 24-quart machine. He said, that's deceptive advertising. I should have sold them the 24 right away. I said, when you came to me, you didn't have the money for the 24. You had the money for this. You buy what you can afford, you build the business, and then as that business builds, it's a no-brainer to call back and say, I need a larger machine. And the resale on my machines is so incredible. You can sell a CB350 in 2.5 hours on eBay. And I see it done if they ever come out.
That's not true. That's not true. 15 minutes, it's gone.
Yeah, I know, but I had to
It's
put a
true.
little
They're
fudge
15
factor in
minutes,
there.
they're done.
These are the most sought after, the Emery Thompsons are the most sought after batch freezers in the world. But I'm not here to do a sales pitch. Does
Yeah,
anybody want to take a 10-minute break to go to the bathroom, or do you want to keep going? Take a break? Okay. We'll take a 10-minute break. You're welcome to walk.
Banana's too strong a flavor.
Okay. Any questions so far? I'll get to you. Where you can also talk about dairy-free ice cream, which is one of my favorites. That's targeting a specific group, millennials 21 to 39. They don't like dairy for whatever reasons. And that is not a fad, it's a trend. I think every ice cream parlor is going to have, I've reduced down from 30 flavors or so down to about 12, and I think we're always going to have 2 flavors rotating in, dairy-free. Italian ice is our other major business, and there are differences between New York Italian ice and Philadelphia Italian water ice, besides their name is all wrong. Any products that you can think of, we can discuss. Sir, you had a question?
Remind me the difference of the one-phase and three-phase, please.
One-phase versus three-phase. It gets a little technical, but in your home, the power company in your house is bringing in 220 volt. That's what you run an oven on and a clothes dryer or central air conditioning. That's what the power company brings in, and it's 2 hots and a ground. Two wires that'll electrocute you and one that'll save you. And that's all across America. Over in Europe, it's a whole different voltage. It's called 3-phase. And in Europe, the standard voltage into a house is 3 wires that'll kill you and a ground. We have 3-phase in the United States, but you're only going to find it in places like my factory. And it was hell to get it in here, because as they cut back on building power companies, the power companies no longer hope to sell large amounts of electricity. They're hoping you won't use any electricity. It's a whole different mindset. So if you buy a machine in 3-phase, Cappigiani, Coldalite, Frigomat, Stolting, I didn't make it up.
Frigomat.
Bravo. These are all 3-phase machines made in Europe. And you would have to buy a transformer for $3,000 to convert it, and those transformers burn out. We build in single phase in the United States of America, and if you happen to have a 3-phase building, we'll build it to you in 3-phase, but we try to avoid it. Because, like I said, 220 single phase is what's in every building in North America right now. If I wanted to bring 3-phase into this building today, it would be about $120,000 because I would have to run the line from out in the street into my building. And one lady I spoke to yesterday said they're even going to charge me for repaving the street where they chopped up the line. So it makes no sense whatsoever. If you look on eBay, you'll find a lot of foreign brand batch freezers, and if you look carefully, there's 150 Cappigianis. And if you look carefully, they're all 3-phase, the vast majority of them. Those machines are there because the customer started off renting a building and then had to move, and the new location, the first location had 3-phase, the new one didn't, and the machine is useless. So we always build in 3-phase, single phase, because it will work anywhere. You could literally take that machine and run it in your living room. It's that simple. That's good. It's very rare because you started off as a big 7-Eleven, and that back then
cooler.
They were running 3-phase. Yeah, now.
And 3-phase in my store means that I have the same machine. You guys worked on it, but it means that my electric bills are a fraction of what they would normally be. And in Florida, that's good.
That's not what I find.
Okay, I'm telling you the real life.
Yeah, well, I run 3 factories, so I got an idea too.
That's when I like doing this.
Okay, we ready?
Yes, go.
Okay, we're going to make... What the hell is this doing here?
Have you met Steve?
We're going to make an adult flavor, which means it has alcohol. If you can't have alcohol, don't have this when it comes out. It's called Black Raspberry Chocolate Chunk. And we'll add the 5 quarts. I hope there's still 5 in here, unless you've been nipping at it.
No. I'll be on standby.
Well, I won't know. I'm pouring it right in.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Jeff's wonderful measurements.
A little of this, a little of that.
Yeah.
So there we go, 5 quarts of mix. And now we'll add black raspberry, or raspberry liqueur. Raspberry liqueur. Ooh. And we'll turn it on first to get it going, mixing real well. And we'll see how much we're going to add.
Do you have this recipe written down somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not all hit or miss like you make it look.
No. They all have the recipe.
Here we go. We'll do this. Pass it around.
And then we'll add about a half of the bottle. So what is this? This is 30, so we'll go to 15. And then I thought we would add some fruit, a fruit medley. How's it smell? Good. A fruit medley, which had all different fruits, but it had bananas in it, and I took them out. I just don't think bananas will go with this. So back in here now we have blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, peaches, and 1 alien banana still left.
Uh-oh.
All right, so let's add this. This we're going to wait. Oh, somebody asked about adding in the middle of the batch, right? Who was that? Oh, okay. We'll do that here. And then we're going to add a couple of white chocolate chips. Now, forgive me, I would normally add the mini white chocolate chips, but under the conditions I'm subjected to here, this is all we got. We'll add about half a quart. And now what do we do?
Taste it.
Good man. Good man. Taste it. You almost said refrigerate. Okay, we're ready to roll. Probably could add this too. It wouldn't kill it, right? What?
I want to be able to drive home today.
Don't have it. All right. Any questions about that? Yes.
It just so happened that wasn't 5 quarts mixed.
What's that?
Just so happened that wasn't 5 quarts mixed.
I didn't understand. What are you saying?
If that just so happened that before you kind of like alcohol mixed.
No. Remember, they come in 10-quart bladders, right? Well, how much did I use for the first batch of vanilla caramel praline?
Great question. I don't remember. Was 5?
You ought to join him at the break. we added 5. We're making a half batch. So if we, how much was left? There we go.
You were saying that maybe there's only 4, not 5 in there. You were saying what would happen after that's returned, right? Or would it be too
Well, you have 2 options. You can go get some more mix, which is what you should do, or you can bring everything down about 20%. 20%, right? All right, we're ready to roll. We're going to add these red raspberries anytime now, so that maybe we'll get a little, let's see if we got, yeah, this is pretty well beaten up, but these will maintain a little bit, right?
We'll
Steve?
see. I think they're gonna pulverize.
They're going to what?
They're gonna grind up like a Cuisinart.
Oh, you don't think I know what I'm doing, huh?
No, you asked the question.
Well, I think that if you wait till it solidifies a little bit, and then whatever you add in will stay that way.
Okay.
That okay meant, okay, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But that's okay. You gotta love him. He's the godfather.
Jeff, we wouldn't be us if we didn't argue
True.
over things.
I sat in his seat in the back. What's your name, Victor?
Yes.
I sat in Victor's seat, 12 years ago or something? More, maybe?
More, much more.
And it was called Lunch with the President. Steve did the whole show, and the first thing he made was Merlot ice cream. And he handed it out, and I'm sitting in the back, and I tasted it, I put it on the table, I got up, walked outside, called my wife and says, Rose, we're gonna be rich. This guy's making this stuff, forget about it.
Okay, let me just clean up the story a little bit. He said, Rose, if that idiot up there can make this, wait till you see what I make. That's what Rose.
Well, I
really
cleaned
said
it
to
up a
Rose.
little bit.
I was looking at a recipe a few days back, and I thought I read there that if you're making the alcohol, you should probably put the heavier alcohol towards the end of the process. But I saw you kind of put everything in together at the beginning, so that doesn't follow, or what's the guidance as to when to put the alcohol in?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, in fact, don't try this trick at home of putting alcohol in. Most of everybody else who has a batch freezer will tell you add it as it's coming out. They don't have the level of refrigeration that we do. We have so much refrigeration going through that cylinder that we can put alcohol right in here. Alcohol freezes at what, minus 270, somewhere around there?
It won't freeze.
And what you're never going to freeze alcohol. You're going to freeze it in suspension.
Because of his machine, I was able to make $2 million because of his machine allowing me to make alcohol-infused ice cream. Couldn't do it with anyone else. His machine allowed me to make $2 million, and we still sell it in the store in Daytona. We have 30 flavors, 10 of them are adult flavors, over 21, and they have alcohol in them. You can't do that with anything else. It'll freeze up.
And did I ever get a box of chocolates at Christmas? Well, actually, yes.
Tell me about it. You don't want to go there, do you?
Jeff is very generous. But that's it. We have so much refrigeration that we're the only machine that you can put alcohol in quantity. We're not talking an ounce or two. We're talking a pint. In the bigger machine, this one I use a fifth or a quart. You can't do that in other machines.
And we use 2 quarts.
Yeah. There you go.
I know you can't have any.
No. Not on my diet.
All right, I think we're gonna.
This is more of a mechanical question that goes beyond just making it. Besides the consumables and the beaters that mix and stuff and so on, if you have your machine and you're maintaining it over time, I come from more of a mechanical background. What will we be looking for in terms of maintenance protocol? Is there any filters, refrigeration that we should check out other than the consumables of it?
Yes, but not much. What makes this dasher, this is unique, this is our design. See these springs here? These are what push the blades out against the walls. we like to see you change them once a year. The knives, every other company you talk to, if you ask that same question, they're going to tell you every 90 days on the knives. 5, 6 years, maybe even longer. And that's it. That's all you're going to do. There's a couple of black O-rings on the drive shaft that go once a year. And then these are all minimal costs. We don't sell anything in packages. You don't have to buy a $250 tune-up kit. You want one O-ring, we'll sell you one O-ring. But it's the springs that do the job. Anybody here familiar with pistols, rifles, guns? Yeah? A pistol, a semi-automatic, has what they call a clip. That's what the bullets go in, and there's a spring in there. And you load it in, you've seen it on TV, they load it up and then start firing. If you leave your bullets in the clip, the spring is compressed, and that wears out the spring, unless it's a Sig Sauer. They never wear out. But the same thing here. You're a seasonal business, and you say, well, I'm going to put this away for the winter, and I'm going to put the springs on so I don't lose them and put everything in the machine. You're compressing those springs, you're actually wearing them. And it will work fine next spring, but if you were closed for 3 months, you have put wear on them as if you were making ice cream all day, every day. And the health department wants you to take this apart and just leave it on the table anyway. So there is minimal stuff. We'd go broke if we had to survive on spare parts for an Emery Thompson. The average life of my machines, average life is 40 years. That means some went 38 years, too many of them go 70 years. And they're built better today than they were when my father was making them, my father and my uncle. Because we have techniques, welding techniques that didn't exist then. But that's the key right there. That's really heavy. You can just hold this a little bit.
Victor.
Jeff, the lady over there. Go ahead.
Do you need a liquor license to make ice cream with liquor?
That had to do with the alcohol. How much alcohol can you put in before it's, adult only?
I'll tell you. Your state has a limit. Surprisingly, New York State's one of the highest. But the state has a limit. So
it's usually 5% by volume.
Yeah. So you call up the state and you find out what that limit is, and then when an inspector comes in, they say how much you use, you tell them the truth. I use 4% by volume. I'm less than the state requirement. Okay. You can find out, call, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and ask them what's the limit. Then you'll know, and then you can translate it out to how many ounces you're allowed to use. Jeff's not talking. No. Everybody's afraid of alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, and the IRS. So all you have to do is call them, and because we're going out worldwide on this tape. It's not just Florida, so to give you a number would be false. Just call your state and find out what it is. It varies from state to state, and you can translate that out to exactly how many ounces. Like I said, I use a fifth of alcohol, but I'm more concerned about the taste. I have made alcohol ice creams where you put so much alcohol in it, you take a taste and you go like that, and you ask people, what flavor is that? I don't know. All I taste is alcohol. So you can overdo it. I am told Jeff's ice creams are great.
That's a big one.
Yeah, there's a bigger one over there.
That's 24?
This is 24. That's what's in your machine. That's all.
Works like a charm.
That's all stainless steel. That's never going to wear out.
You know what?
Twist.
It's so easy to clean it, you can almost just rinse it.
Yeah.
I mean, we soap it up and everything, but the water comes right off of all this stuff.
And you can throw the whole thing into the dishwasher.
Well, we don't do that.
You can.
We don't do
this is a special plastic that's FDA approved called Delrin, and there's only a couple of, Delrin and Erdolite are the only two plastics you can use in the machine, and they work better than the old metal blades. But the springs are the secret. That's
my old Emery had the fixed blades that swiveled.
Yeah. Yep. This is a bracket. This machine's not in this room, but that's the 44 quart dasher. That's the world's largest production batch freezer. That's going to make 11 gallons of ice cream at a time. There's no bigger machine. And that thing's heavy.
Camille just told me we ought to get one. Really? And use the 24 for the next store. We're planning another store.
Okay, sounds good to me. They put this over here.
Okay, I think we'll rock and roll. Where's Christi?
I don't know. You need her?
Yeah, she's got to serve this up.
Oh, okay.
Nice color.
These new shirts are great.
What?
That shirt from the back is terrific.
Yeah, they did
Turn
a
around
good
to the
job.
camera, Les.
They did a good job.
Okay, I always ask a question. I used to ask, isn't this great? Isn't it wonderful? Don't you love it? You know, and everybody goes, yeah, even though it's horrible because I made it. But the question now is, what would you change on this, if anything? Is there anything at all that you can think of you would change? Would you add a little more of this, a little more of that, just out of curiosity?
What were the white chunks that you placed inside of it?
What were the white chunks you placed inside?
White chocolate chips.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna switch mine up too. I'm gonna save the boozy ice for last. I think that's what I have next, right? The Florida Hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
We should do that last and do the Velvet Crunch next, don't you think?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So, someone say something?
What?
No?
So I like the balance, sugar, relatively to the other ingredients. Do you do all your alcohol like that?
What do you mean?
I mean, it's not too sweet. I love the fact that it's not too sweet.
Well, they're all different. I mean, Bailey's is sweeter. Amaretto is probably sweeter.
Yes.
In terms of rinsing the machine between batches,
Oh, thank you.
how do you decide when to do a rinse? Like now, you're about to make another batch without cleaning out the machine.
You're from New York, aren't you? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give you the New York
Microwave
answer.
it?
If we make rum raisin ice cream,
No.
I am going to rinse that machine multiple times. I'm going to bring in the Pope and have him re-bless it, because as you know as a New Yorker, if one raisin gets into any other flavor, that's a cockroach. And we can't afford, or at least we think it's a cockroach because we think like New Yorkers. So we can't afford that. So if you can't afford to get a nut or a chip or anything into another flavor, then you do a couple of rinses out. Especially with peanuts, we do like peanut butter ice cream. We don't want to risk peanut allergies. They're very real. So we would make that at the end of the day. As owner of the company, and you'll get there too with your company, what I tell people is, yes, I'm concerned about the peanut allergies, but if you've ever cleaned up after Jiffy peanut butter in a machine where it's stuck all over the machine, you just make that flavor and walk away and send one of your employees in to clean it. Because what a nightmare. No matter, always the last flavor of the day. Your liquor flavors are in here? No. They're not? Okay. But all your other flavors that you talked about are in here. Jeff's got this fantastic book, and due to inflation, it's still reasonably priced, and you can call him, or no, contact him, ex-hippie. Now write this down, those of you watching, because Jeff is unique in everything he does, including the spelling of hippie. It's not H-I-P-P-Y, like the rest of us. It's the letter X, and then H-I-P-P-E-E.
Right over there. Right there.
Well, sometimes they don't look. Ex-hippie. Just remember that. So when you call me up and say, I can't get in touch with Jeff, he doesn't return my emails, it's because you put H-I-P-P-Y. So I recommend that book. That's extremely helpful.
Thank you.
Oops, I keep hitting everybody.
And we'll continue.
Now you say you make peanut butter at the end of the day. Doesn't the Nutella have the kind of same consistency as
Yeah,
peanut butter?
nothing's worse than peanut butter.
You're in my workspace.
I'm leaving.
Yes.
The alcohol-infused ice cream, can that be stored in the same freezer with the other ice cream, or does it need a special temperature?
No, it can be stored in the others, but the audience can't see. Mike, can they see this table where I am? Or do you need to?
No.
Okay. Let's say this is your freezer cabinet. That freezer cabinet is surrounded by coils of refrigeration. So the whole box is 10 below. Where I'm standing here, it's 10 below. But over here in the corner, there's refrigeration going this way and that way. So this corner is colder. It might be 12 or 14 below, where this is 10 below. Put your alcohols there in the corners. Also, in your serving cabinet, your dipping cabinet that Jeff doesn't use, same thing goes. It's wrapped in refrigeration. So a high sugar content product is going to scoop easier than a low sugar content like vanilla. So if I put the vanilla in this corner, it'll be rock hard. You'll never be able to scoop it. And if I put my strawberry or butterscotch swirl over here, it might be a little soupy. And so if you go to an ice cream parlor and you see that the server, you ordered a double scoop of two different flavors, easy to scoop in one, hard to scoop in the other, the boss doesn't know that rule. Higher sugar content products go to the four corners, and the lower sugar content products go to the center. Now everything will scoop the same. Makes life a lot easier.
In the store, we have chest freezers, and we do dedicate certain freezers to the adult flavors, and we keep those much lower.
But the stores I'm doing today are 900 square feet. We're putting up stores for equipment costs of under $40,000. I used to be doing $125,000, $130,000, but nobody can get a bank loan. So that's out the window. So we're doing 900 square foot stores, very cramped, very, very profitable. And so every square inch that you have to think about before you buy something.
So on that,
It's going to be what?
Gonna be loud.
Okay.
And it's not coming.
so as a follow-up, how many different freezers or how many different appliances do you need for the different temperatures? Like you're scooping, if you're doing both ice cream and ices, right? You're scooping ices at what? Like what temperature is that?
16.
16 versus...
Ices are seasonal in most of the world. So if you had something that small for ices, I can do, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can cram in 6 flavors in here. So that would be perfect for ices. We've talked about, we have a feature, Christi and I, called Questions Answered that is sent out to you every Wednesday if you're signed up with us. And we have a little device where you can go buy a simple $300 chest freezer, put this device on it called Inkbird, and it isn't a thermostat, it's merely turning the power on and off to your box. So when the box gets to 17 degrees, it turns it on. When it gets down to 15, it turns it off. $32. So you don't have to go out and buy a $2,000 cabinet. That works very well. And then in the wintertime, if you're not selling any ices, you just turn the thermostat colder and sell novelties. So you think about every piece of equipment that goes in there and what's it going to return to you. No, this cabinet, the little one? No, that's a Nelson cabinet, yes. I've had it for over 20 years and I've never done anything to it. It's flawless. We sell a hardening cabinet now. It's because hardening cabinets are extremely rare to get and they take a year to get. We have these ready to ship every 10 days made out of North Carolina in conjunction with my frenemy, Capajani. I needed a hardening cabinet, and they came to me and said, do you think if we built a hardening cabinet, there'd be a market for it? I said, let me at it. And so we're opposing companies with a common goal, and so we're selling a ton of these, but this is 2 separate compressors. It runs on 110. You just plug them both in. It's 25 below zero. What makes it a hardening cabinet is I can have a true freezer that goes to 20 or 15 below. But as soon as I put a ton of ice cream into it, it's going to warm up to plus 40. I can fill this thing all up in 2 hours, and it's not going to get any warmer than, say, 15 below. So it's incredible. And you'll get there eventually, because people call up and they say, oh, I need a bigger batch freezer. I say, no, you don't. I wish you did. I'd like your money. But what you need is more freezer space. You can always hire someone to do the graveyard shift. Police, fire, military. We don't pay them enough. Let's give them a job to work overnight while you're sleeping. Who better to protect your building than a cop or a fireman or military? So with something like that, you can quadruple your production.
Is that one temperature for the inside the entire unit?
2 separate thermostats. Yeah, but to me, it doesn't make sense other than to use it as one temperature. And then tomorrow, I'm going to unload this, put it into my chest freezers, and make more ice cream. So now I've just quadrupled my production. Do you want to tell them about the Nutella?
Yeah.
You're having fun?
Yeah.
So the easiest way would be to microwave this for a few seconds, but Jeff over there is like, use a spatula. Look how great that's working.
This is not pick on Jeff there.
Anyways, so we use the Forbes chocolate powder. Forbes makes a fantastic chocolate powder. This is almost, well, it is. It's a spin-off of Jeff's recipe. He does a, what do you call yours? Chocolate velvet. Chocolate velvet. But we are adding Ferrero Rocher candies to it. Now I had previously frozen them. Because when you work with chocolates, it's best to freeze them first, whether it's Butterfingers, Heaths, any type of chocolate, mini chocolate chips. I prefer to freeze those as well beforehand. When you do that, it holds its shape a lot better. If you were to just throw a Kit Kat in there, it's going to pretty much pulverize the entire Kit Kat. It'll taste like a Kit Kat, but if you freeze it first and then chop it up, it's going to hold that good consistency. I know it kind of sounds silly. It is a batch freezer. It does freeze, but your chocolate will still kind of melt. Another thing when you're working with chocolate, it's very high in sugar. Forbes powder has a lot of sugar. This has sugar. That has sugar. The more sugar you add, the longer it's going to take to freeze. And that's just science. You can't get around science at all.
You first try this with 5 quarts of mix before you went down to 3.5?
This is the CB350. The minimum you can do is 3.5 quarts. So you can get away with 3 quarts. You'll be just fine. So when you work with the smaller machines, you have to go by the formula amount. And then the directions are always on the Forbes powder, so you just do the math and break it down from there.
On that note, if you have a recipe for the 200 bottle, you just double it for the 350? Does that
That's
work?
correct. And if you want it for the 200, you just cut that in half.
And if you want to go to the 12 quart times 4, and the 44 quart times 8 from the 200. Okay, which of you two took my linguine strainer and put it in the sink? Nobody's admitting it?
I did.
Okay, brilliant. Congratulations.
Well, you always put it in there.
What Christi did is she put my linguine strainer into the sink, and she caught 4 nuts from Jeff's last batch of ice cream. That's what was left in the machine. Now, the great idea about the spaghetti strainer is that 4 nuts times about 10 batches is going to clog up my drain. So we caught the nuts before they went down the drain, and you had to call the plumber. So instead of a $100 plumber, a $9 spaghetti strainer, and you'll never have that problem. And they're clean. You can eat them. They're good.
Now we did the toasted coconut. Now that was a light flavor. I didn't bother rinsing it because we went straight to chocolate. None of that coconut, none of this vanilla is going to bleed into that chocolate. If it does, it's just going to mix right in and you're not going to see it nor taste it at all. Now if I was to do this and then go to a strawberry or another vanilla, you would need to rinse it first. Anybody here allergic to nuts? Tree nuts, hazelnuts? No? Okay. Another good point. Always save your nut products for the end of the day. Reason is because a lot of people have a nut allergy. If you're working with peanut butter especially, like Butterfinger, that has peanut butter in it. Your health department, once again, every county is different. They'll tell you exactly what you need to do. So at the very, very, very end of the day, no matter what you ran first, rinse it out and then run your peanut butter or your nut products, even pistachios and sometimes walnuts. My daughter is allergic to walnuts, go figure, but not pecans, not pistachios, but walnuts she is. So it's always best to save that for your last run of the day. Got anything?
No.
No, he doesn't.
Questions? Italian ices, dairy free? Yes, sir. Oh, you're bidding on the auction's this afternoon. I'm sorry. I thought you'd go like this. That's going to cost you $10,000 right there. Yes.
When we get to it, I'll have my questions.
Okay.
Guys, I forgot to add my candies.
You can have some now.
No, too
Well,
full.
like I said earlier, everyone's
I'll toss them in at the end.
You said the difference between Philadelphia and was it water ice and Italian ice? You said a second ago. What is that difference?
In New York, we call it Italian ice, and my formula would be on a big machine: 7 pounds of sugar and 14 quarts of water. In Philadelphia, they call it Philadelphia Wada Ice. I don't know why; it's a terrible name, Wada Ice. And they actually like theirs smoother and creamier. So they add an extra pound. Instead of 7 pounds of sugar, it's 8 pounds of sugar. And that won't necessarily make it sweeter. It's not enough to make it sweeter, but it will make it smoother. And that's all it is. Now that's, you ask anybody in the Italian ice business, you'll never hear that. They would never give away that information. That's the so-called handed down from my great-great-grandfather from Genoa, Italy, who, by the way, is me, and I've never been to Genoa. But that's the way rumors get started. Yes, sir.
When making cream ice versus an Italian ice, other than it had milk product in it.
That's it. That's all it is.
That's it. So
Yeah.
you make it exactly the same as a fruit product, or
Yes, you're just adding a little bit of cream. Jeff, what's your simple formula for the cream ice? 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1.
And it's 3 quarts of water, 2 pounds of sugar, and 1 quart of ice cream mix. If you don't have ice cream mix, just put in about a pint of heavy cream. Then you don't have to buy ice cream mix.
mix, and what was the other one?
2 pounds of sugar.
2 pounds of sugar.
3, 2, 1.
Steve?
Yes.
In this kind of dairy-free idea, for those who are lactose intolerant, what do you recommend? Do you have mixes you recommend, or do you just do a sorbet? What do you?
Yeah, no, sorbet is Italian ice. You're not going to pass that off on someone who's 30 years old as a dairy-free. They're just not going to buy it. There's 2 ways to go. There's Meadowvale, Christi? Meadowvale is the right name for the dairy-free.
I keep up with you and I couldn't even keep up with my own self. I forgot to add pages.
Meadowvale, who we talked about before with the pure ice cream mix, has a coconut-based liquid, and all of this can be shipped frozen and stored frozen, keep it for months. Also, there's a company called, I'll spell it, MAMIS, gelato.com. And MAMIS is mommy's in Italian, but it's spelled MAMIS. They make 2 different types. They make a coconut-based powder called Froconut, Froconut. And that's going to have a coconut aftertaste to it, which I find very pleasant. It was the first one to come out. I really like it. The only problem is you can't make vanilla ice cream because the vanilla and the coconut flavor are fighting for, taking over the world dominance. They then came out with an oat base, and it's got a cute name. It's called Outrageous. You ready? You want to continue?
Oh, yeah. You were in the middle of that. That's fine.
I'll just finish real fast. Outrageous, OATRAGEOUS. And this is an oat-based product. Oat has no taste whatsoever. So the ice cream is only going to have the taste of what you put into it: nuts, cookies, candies, strawberries, anything like that. Both great products and easy to get. It's an American company, Gelato, mommysgelato.com. Yes, way in the back.
No, I was just gonna say they have a third, the almond version too.
Yeah, I don't like almond and I don't like cashew. I find that both of them taste like eating the Sahara Desert. Now, I haven't tried hers, but I've tried Breyers and I've tried others that use almond and cashew, and I don't like them. My personal preference is oat. I love working with the oat. Christi's going to You follow the directions and add water, and then it's ready to go.
So because I was busy talking, I forgot to add the candies. So there's two ways that you can handle that. Now, you could do what Jeff and I did, pull some out. I was just going to wait until I was extracting and then just put it in there and just give it a couple folds, and it'll be just as good. That'll give it an extra crunch and bigger pieces. Or we can pull some out and then add that in. In the smaller machines, obviously you're going to waste that because you can't pour it back in until you extract that. Then you could pour that back into there and do another batch if that's how you're going to do it. Sorry, that's very rich. So good. Say that again. It is. So we're going to save this little bit and then just toss it in there and just give it a good fold anyway. Very, very, very good.
You gave out your formula?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I did.
Should I
Any
try?
questions?
No? Nothing?
I'm going to put this back.
Okay.
It's about ready to pull in a minute.
All right.
Would any of the dairy-free options work for those that are allergic to gluten?
Depends on what's in it. The coconut isn't going to have gluten. Is oat gluten? I don't know. Isn't gluten wheat? So I would say no. But it's an easy phone call for you to make. You wouldn't be putting wheat into here at all. I don't see the ingredient list on this package. It probably comes on the box.
Right, and I understand people come for ice cream, but we have like a family that we know that their daughter is gluten and dairy free. She like literally her stomach, like she can't handle it.
Tell them to go somewhere else.
Right?
This
Except
rather
for
than
their whole family would come and get ice cream.
Oh.
And by excluding the one, the whole family won't come. So I'm wondering how important it is to cater to those.
it depends. I've been through so many fads in my life. No, I disagree with Jeff. I used to agree with Jeff. I've been through so many fads in my life. I went through popsicles was a big fad. Everybody was buying displays to do brightly colored popsicles, what we call in Mexico paletas. You know, really nice fresh fruits and beautiful displays. Frozen yogurt was a long fad that came back twice. What finally killed it off is primarily women eating frozen yogurt realized this is not dietetic. They said, it's fat-free. Well, it may be fat-free, but if you're not freezing fat, you're freezing sugar. And it had more sugar in it than any other product on the market. So you weren't losing weight eating frozen yogurt, you were gaining weight eating frozen yogurt. That killed it off, plus every gas station out in the, everywhere had a frozen yogurt machine. They didn't know dairy, or they didn't know products, they didn't know how to clean the machines, people got sick. So that finally died off. Gelato almost ruined my company in the late 90s because I didn't have a machine capable of making gelato, and everybody was eating gelato. Now it's only it's a trend in Europe and South America where you have European populations. The rest of the world, Asia, Africa, New Zealand, Australia, the Middle East, America, they're all eating American-style ice cream.
Good.
Hey,
So-
yes, sir.
I'm a little confused. Too many numbers coming and going.
Okay.
Yes. The serving temperature for Italian ice is 16?
Yes, sir.
Did I
16
hold that
degrees for
correctly?
Italian ice. All natural.
Right. And for ice cream, that is
Six degrees. Colder.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
What about the storing temperatures for those two items?
Anything below 5 below. I like 10. I like on these. I like 20, 25 below.
So ice cream and water ices can be stored in the same freezer?
Yes, you're turning them into a brick, a solid rock of product, which in the case of Italian ice, the flavor won't bleed out of it. You can put every chemical in the world if you wanted to into ice cream and you'll never taste it. But you put any kind of chemical into sugar water and it's going to be sticky and gummy. We've all had Italian ice like that. You just use temperature as your preservative and you'll never have that problem. So if you call me up in 2 weeks and say, I've got bubblegum licorice Italian ice and the tub's been in my cabinet for 3 weeks and it's not selling, is it any good? The answer is yes, it's as good as the day you made it, but it's not selling because it's a lousy flavor. Get rid of it. You have to look at the real reason why it's selling. Yes?
Can you go through the flow of everything? So you make the ice cream, then you're putting it in the hardening freezer, and then you're storing it, and then when you're ready to serve it, you have to take it out and let it adjust to a certain temperature.
Yes.
Can you go through that flow?
For ice cream?
Yes.
Okay, so what it starts with is the dairy blend that comes, and so you need a refrigerator to put this in. The refrigerator is going to hold it until you're ready to use it, just like milk. And then we take this out, we put it into the batch freezer, we turn it into mint chip ice cream. It flows out fast and needs to be hardened. So we put it either into a chest freezer if we're doing small quantities, or a hardening cabinet if we're doing large quantities. At that point, we could leave it in there for 3 months. It's so cold that, and it's so rock hard that it's not going to deteriorate. From a practical standpoint, if your flavor's in there for 3 months, again, if your flavor's in there for 3 months, it's a bad flavor. Get rid of it because you should have rotated it out. So let's say we made it today. We've gone through the steps that we've done. We got the mix out of the refrigerator. We put it in here, turned it into ice cream, put it into a chest freezer or a hardening cabinet, and it's in there overnight. And now tomorrow, we look and say, well, where are we going to be in the future? Well, this weekend looks like it's going to be a really nice sunny weekend. Let's pull 2 or 3 tubs out of that freezer, and we can put a couple of them into the serving cabinet for today, or we can just leave them in the freezer. So tonight, you make your decision. Is tomorrow going to be a nice day? Yes. Okay, let's take 2 tubs of vanilla out of the freezer, put it in the serving cabinet, and we're good to go. As the volume of the store increases, you'll have to increase the amount of tubs you have available. But that's the steps. Leave it in the freezer until you absolutely need it. If it's going to be a hurricane here this weekend, and you know you're not going to sell anything, leave it in the freezer.
So how long does it take for the temperature to adjust? If I take it out of the hardening cabinet or the chest freezer, how long does it take for the temperature to adjust to the serving temperature?
Everything is, on average, is 8 hours. 8 hours to freeze it solid, 8 hours to warm it back up. That's why everything is decided tonight. I think one of the most important things in your business is going to be the Weather Channel. You look and see what does tomorrow and Friday look like. If it's going to be beautiful and sunny, you start pulling ice cream out of the rock solid. If it's going to be raining, leave it in there. People don't buy ice cream in the rain except in Seattle. And I don't understand why they buy it in Seattle. That's one of our biggest markets, yes.
So from the time they deliver the mix and you have it in the refrigerator, how long will it last?
Jeff, what would you say on that?
How long mix lasts in the refrigerator?
Yeah.
No more than 10, 12 days.
Okay, that's a long time. But
you can freeze it, it'll last till your grandchildren use it.
yeah, so what I do, we only do this class every other month, so when I get a delivery of mix, right in the freezer. And then excuse me?
What temperature? Same?
Whatever I can get out of that cabinet. That's going to eventually go to 10 below, but 0 would freeze it. The colder you go in freezing, the longer it'll last. So if you're a hunter and you go deer hunting and you've got one of these things going to 25 below, you're golden because it's going to keep that venison for 6 months, 12 months. So
Do you need the hardening cabinet?
you don't need it until your business expands because all of a sudden you've got 900 square feet in one chest freezer and then your business quadruples in volume. You still only have one chest freezer, so you're going to be telling people, I'm sorry, I'm out of space, therefore I'm out of ice cream. If you have a vertical cabinet that goes that cold, then you've just increased your volume tremendously. But I believe in opening up your store for as little money as possible, absolutely bare minimum. And we'll help you do that. A CB350, a chest freezer, a dipping cabinet. That's
You mean
all
I
you
can't
need
have granite countertops?
Yeah, no granite countertops, no children's playrooms to have birthday parties, none of that stuff. And then as business gets bigger, you look at your shortfalls. You're going to call me and say, my shortfall is I need a bigger batch freezer. I'm going to say, no, you're not working hard enough. What are you talking about? I'm working 16 hours a day. I said, I know you are. Go hire a cop or a policeman or a military and let them come in at 11 o'clock at night till 6 a.m., run your machine, protect your building, and fill up your freezers. So what you're going to need next is not another batch freezer from me. It's going to be more freezer space. And that's how you expand the business, as you can afford it. Don't buy a lot of stuff now. You don't need a fudge warmer to make butterscotch sundaes and chocolate sundaes, because you shouldn't be making butterscotch and chocolate sundaes. They're not cost effective. Yes, sir.
Pros and cons of a chest freezer versus a stand-up reach-in freezer?
The stand-up reach-in freezer doesn't get nearly as cold, and every time you open, you're talking about just like a true.
Yeah.
You're not talking a hardening cabinet.
No.
Every time you open up that true cabinet, all the cold comes falling out. And you say, I'm not going to do that. Oh, yeah? How many times at 11 o'clock at night have we opened up the refrigerator at home just praying that there's a roast beef or a ham or a turkey in there? And we look for it, And you're going to be sitting there going, where the heck did I put the maple walnut? And in the meantime, all that cold is falling out. It works great in a hardening cabinet because it's so cold and such fast recovery, but chest freezers do a much better job than upright. Yes?
You can't serve right out of the chest freezer, right?
Jeff does.
Sure you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He does. I don't. Yes?
I gotta ask, how much is that beautiful hardening cabinet right there?
I'll tell you afterwards, because this tape is going to stay around for years, and people are going to call me up 10 years from now and say, oh, yours was only such and such a price. I'll be happy to give you the price, but I just can't do it on camera. We try not even to say the date.
Understood.
We're like I Love Lucy. We're going to be out there forever, going through the universe. It's a scary thought. Anybody else? How about we break for lunch?
Yeah.
We've got a nice lunch over there for you. Christi is set up.
Okay, so I thought I would make, since it's after dinner, right? We just had dinner. So we'll have after dinner mints ice cream, okay? Clear your palate, clear your sinuses, clear your head, and clear the wallets of all the customers. So these are Starlight mints. In the restaurants, they have a bucket of them by the register for when you leave. They're these things. You've seen them, right? Starlight mints. Walgreens has them. They're pretty inexpensive. And we'll see what happens, all right? We'll try to make something out of it. So these, I've peeled them to save you the trouble. I've got them here. We'll put them in the Ninja and make some Starlight mint dust. Who disconnected us? Now check this out. This is something.
Sorry.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. They're all wet. They're all wet. This one isn't. So Starlight mint powder.
That has an ungodly amount of sugar, isn't it?
What?
It has an ungodly amount of sugar.
I don't care.
No, it's a question. I don't know.
What was the question?
Do you have any idea how much sugar's in that? All of it.
Nope. So here we have Starlight mint powder. Oh, I need a bladder. Yeah? Here. Okay, after dinner mints. And I thought we'd add the white chips. You know, that goes with it, right? Yeah. Maybe we should give them a zap in the blender. What do you think?
Good.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Just a quick zap, right? A zapette.
This mom knows what this is about.
What's that?
Carrying a toddler on your hip.
Okay, we'll add these into here.
If you had the minis, would you have done that?
No. The minis are pretty good, but I didn't have them. Careful if you touch that. Okay, so we'll add, how much?
If you're doing half.
Yeah, half.
5 quarts.
Right.
5 quarts.
Day late and a dollar short. 5 quarts. You're beginning to see how easy this all is? It's, you know, I mean, even people like you can grasp it.
You get those.
What?
Is that what you're saying? People can harass you?
Grasp it.
Oh, grasp it.
Yeah.
Oh, now my hearing's going.
Okay, so 5 quarts. After dinner mint. $5 quarts. Okay, I think this will be a pretty simple product here. All right, we can just throw this in here, right? We're adding it all at once.
I'm moving.
Okay,
Traffic jam.
we'll fire it up, and then we'll add this stuff. The recipe's in the book. All right, ready to fire it up? Okay. What are you doing? Sneaking out?
He said the recipe's in the book. There you go. He pays me to do that. $1.85 an hour. No chocolate at Christmas.
You know, it's okay because eventually they're going to buy it and it's going to cost them $20 more.
Inflation. How's the second book coming?
Second book, I know you keep hitting me on it, but it's coming. Okay, we're ready?
It is.
Are wouldn't do it if it wasn't there.
Well, no, okay.
Okay, so we'll give it a shot. This won't take very long. And then we'll have after dinner mints with Bruce's coffee concoction there. I'm putting this in here, but be careful.
When it comes to putting inclusions into the batch freezer,
Yes.
it seems pretty indestructible, but are there any do's on don'ts of what you can throw in there with those dasher blades?
Nate, you could throw gravel in there. Not recommended, but you ain't gonna hurt it.
Don't worry about it.
Nope. Here he goes.
Here we go. You see that? This was our rainbow maker. This is what you put into a tub, and you have one flavor here, one flavor here, one flavor here, and then you pull it out and you scoop in a semicircle. One of my customers didn't understand that this goes into the tub, not the machine. So he thought if you put that in the machine, it's going to magically divide the machine into three. And he tried to tell me that FedEx did that they ran it over with a truck, and I wasn't going to argue. I sent him a new one because I get so much mileage out of that story. So other than that, no, I don't know of anything that you can put in there. And it didn't hurt the machine. It wreaked havoc with this. It didn't break the machine. It broke the rainbow maker. It's supposed to, 3 compartments. So no, it just goes in like that. 3 compartments. In Brooklyn, we used to do it with cardboard, except that attracts cockroaches. 2 pieces of cardboard, slit it down the middle. Now you've got 3 sections, and you go in a scoop like that. So no, you can't break this machine. Many have tried, none have succeeded. He asked. What can I say? I got a story for everything.
You think? Okay, so what else? Okay. By the way, you want to talk about the cost of this flavor we're making now. You haven't tried it yet, you may not like it. But the Starlight Mints are about $3, and we used half a bag. So as we did in class with the costs, what's the matter?
Nothing.
What?
The cost is nothing.
The cost is nothing. If you think about it, the bladder costs $25 approximately. We're using half a bladder. So half a bladder, $12. Let's go 13, what the hell? $13, $1.50 for this. So for $15, you're gonna get 3 gallons of ice cream. So that's $5 a gallon. You get 10 servings out of a gallon at $6. So that's $180, and it costs you $15. So some profit work in there, right? Right?
Absolutely.
Look, Starlight Mints.
And we won't say that the cost is unimportant, but the fact is nobody else can make an ice cream this good. So you can have anybody, no one's going to open up in your town. They'd be crazy. In fact, we're kind of like the Oracle of Delphi. If you're in Ocala, Florida, and there's an ice cream parlor there, and someone calls me up and says, hey, I want to open in Ocala, my answer is going to be, great, love to sell you a machine. But just keep in mind, the very best you can hope to do is get 50% of the other guy's business, because there's already a homemade ice cream parlor there. No one's that crazy. I say, go to Gainesville, 15 miles away. Open up in Gainesville, because Ocala's taken, or any place in the United States of America. And this is what happens. Savannah, Georgia, we've got Leopold Stratton Leopold has Leopold's Ice Cream. We put his father in business in the 1920s. I helped Stratton get the business back going in the 1990s. Kilwins has moved in, crickets. They're not doing anything. Nobody can move into downtown Savannah because the town is taken. No one can top that ice cream parlor. Same thing when a Molly Moon goes in. There's no sense arguing, competing against Molly Moon. They're homemade ice cream. There's not another one in the world like them. And that's what you'll be. You're bulletproof from any competition, and you're making something, and you're also making memories. I talked to the customer about this morning here. We were saying, people remember where they went to get ice cream when they were growing up. Grandma took me to this place to get ice cream. Dad would take us over to this place. And now you're building memories for new generations of those families. My story wasn't so great. Dad and Uncle June ran the business, Emery, Thompson Jr. and my father Ted. And their idea of testing a machine was, if it takes 8 minutes to make ice cream, let's run it for an hour and a half and see what breaks. And it was always vanilla, and then they would bring it home. So I grew up thinking ice cream was absolutely horrible. You know, just the worst stuff on earth because we got it over-processed. But everybody else has wonderful, fond memories of ice cream, and that's what you're developing.
Okay, where's Christi?
Christi ducked out. I'll do it.
Okay. Oh, you're going to do it?
Sure.
Oh, boy.
I got a scoop.
Okay.
Why, when I was 16, I was running copper tubing.
Here she is. No.
No. You'll just have to wait. I'm a little slower. Excuse me? No, I'm good. I can speed this up. It's just not going to be pretty. But the ice cream's pretty. It's a nice color.
Just what they want, more ice cream.
Absolutely. That's why they came.
Where's your store again?
Daytona Beach.
Jeff, tell them how many square feet your store was when you first opened.
58 square feet.
58. And that's interesting and that's amazing. But what's more amazing is he opened up inside of a gym. Not like a high school gym, but where you go to pay money to exercise. I mean, talk about chutzpah. He's going to have you exercising for an hour on the weightlifting machines, and then you go buy Jeff's ice cream.
None of them bought it. Nobody in the gym
building.
bought the ice cream.
They didn't?
Oh, no.
I bet they snuck back later.
No, it's counterproductive. They wouldn't do that. Here she is now.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
What do you like, have a job here or something?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, Christi who?
Let her take over.
I remember a Christi who worked
2,
here
4,
a long
6,
time
8,
ago.
10, 12. 13.
Keep going. After you. You're not as sloppy as me. Oops.
Ooh, this is fluffy.
Fluffy?
This is fluffy.
Fluffy?
Fluffy.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Did you take one of my cups?
Yeah. That's amazing, you know?
No, he took one of mine. You're okay.
Well, it was still part of the count. Men, they just don't understand.
Excellent. Not just the right amount of sweetness.
It has a good follow, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
What's the chippy? Oh,
White chocolate chips.
yeah. Oh, that was good. Too bad y'all can't have it. We're going to eat all. We're just going to sit here and talk all day about it.
This is smooth, like, forget about it. Smooth. Sugar.
Very nice. What do we have left? You have one more, Christi?
The big one.
The big one. Okay. The Italian ice. Mm-hmm. Any questions? We have one more flavor after this, and then we'll give you a tour of this building. We have 3 buildings. We have this one, another factory up the street, and then across the street. But this is the final assembly building, so we'll go through this one. But great time to ask questions, because we know that as soon as we say goodbye, that was great, everybody rushes up and has questions.
Bruce.
Go ahead. We'll get to you.
Go ahead. This might not be good for here, but we discussed it earlier yesterday about the possibility, about the problem that you may or may not have had in updating to computer technology. The other machines are bulletproof. They go back forever. I know that nowadays things tend not to last as long as they did, aka a refrigerator, a washer, dryer, whatever.
Yeah, they're all Chinese made.
Exactly.
These are made in USA.
Have you had any difficulty with, I understand going from what they used to be to your the unlimited overflow, that computer technology? I mean, any difficulty there as far as?
My Infinite Overrun has been in existence for 22 years. So I think after 22 years, we've got the bugs out of it. The only thing that changed was the keypad itself. We updated from little push buttons to a touch screen where you select what you want. There's videos built in there, so at 2 in the morning, don't call me, I'm asleep.
You don't want any of these,
but you
Kendall?
still want to know why my machine stopped, and there's videos that will show you what we know you're doing wrong. We have almost 39,000, we're coming up on 39,000 machines running in 171 countries around the world. We sell to 141 countries. We've had to drop some of them out, like China. And I don't sell to China. I just don't. Everybody says, you're crazy. It's the biggest market in the world. I don't need it. I don't want it. But we hear the same things over and over and over again. My wife, Paula, when we had blades that needed to be sharpened, you could hear her on the phone, and she knows nothing about refrigeration, and she would say, it's not your expansion valve, it's your blades haven't been sharpened. Because what was wrong was the refrigeration guy would say, oh, there's Freon gas, there's Paula, there's Freon gas flooding back to the cylinder, to the compressor itself. And he'd say it's a bad expansion valve. So Paula would say, no, I've looked up your records. You haven't had your blades sharpened in 2 years. They're supposed to be done once a year. And you sharpen the blades will scrape better, no frost back. Things like that. We've heard of everything. And we're always improving. I'll show you an old blade. This is an old blade. We found out overnight in 1996, we had to make dramatic changes because I was on the committee, 3A dairy committee, to get rid of dairy metal. I'm dooming my own business, but it was the right thing to do. How'd you get in? Dairy metal, lead and copper. 5% lead and copper. So we had to change over to all plastic blades overnight. They didn't work because they didn't have any weight to them to throw against the wall. So we came up with these, and that is a metal frame with a plastic insert. But you talk about technology, this is 1995, and that's riveted in. Really hard to clean. Today, like I showed you before, we're scraping because these springs are pushing out against the walls. So the harder they push, the better they scrape. And that's Delrin plastic. It's only one of two, Delrin and Erdolite, that is approved for ice cream machines. Everybody goes, oh, plastic. Yeah, oh, expensive plastic relative to others.
That being said, these things here are still in use on thousands of machines.
Yeah.
This is what I started with. Thousands and thousands of machines. It works flawlessly.
Yeah, and they were upgraded to be removable. But everything I do is to improve the quality of the machine. I know I have the reputation. I've worked hard to have the reputation. And by building the very best machine, and just like the ice cream, where Jeff doesn't care about the cost, you'll buy it because it's the best ice cream in the world. My prices are less than others because we deal direct. We don't go through a dealer. That's a 33% additional markup. But my machines, I have never made a decision in this business, and I've been here since I was 16. I'm 71. Since
71?
71.
You look a day over
70. Thank you.
The point is, you look so much younger than me, and I'm just around your age.
Oh, well, maybe you should have grown up in the South Bronx.
There we are. Then we look younger there.
Yeah, we do look younger there. Never made a decision to cheapen the machine, only to improve it. And we have dramatic improvements. We have a cylinder now. You can see it over there. It's a one-piece cylinder. It used to be a flat piece of steel, plate steel. We had to roll it, weld the back plate on, polish all that. That's now a stamping, which any engineer will look at and say, no, that can't be a stamping. It's impossible. It's too thick. If you look at it, there's thin little lines. Each one is a stamp. Boom, boom, boom. That barrel will never, ever wear out. My competition, I know in and out, and I know what they can do. They can last 5 years. Then you start having expensive problems, and then at 7 years, you give up on the machine. Nobody gives up on an Emery Thompson ever. So, yeah, we are building them here in the USA, and we're building them better than they ever were. My machines are better than my father's because he didn't have heliarc welding. He had silver solder. So little things like that. The gases have changed. It's unfortunate. Environmental changes, the new gases, every subsequent gas is a little bit slower. My grandfather's machines made ice cream in 4 minutes using ammonia. The only problem with ammonia is, you know, when you've got a leak, everybody's dead. So it's a little problematic. But back then, they just didn't care about their employees the way we do. And we are a family business. It's my family, and I treat all my employees as family. You know, and I'm also doing the math. I'm thinking when we hit 39,000 people, if I sent out a letter and just said to everyone at 39,000, "Can I borrow $5?" You know, after all, we are family. That would work. Any other questions?
What's the current timeline if we were to order today with machines? How you run?
2 years. You can get it now.
It's dropping. It's dropping rapidly. This one is 8 weeks, but we think we would have one for you in 6 weeks. The 24s, 12, 24, and 44s are still 14 weeks, but it's coming down quickly. We're getting caught up. Being the only machine available because everybody else was buying from China and couldn't get parts, we not only got all our business, we got all of Capajani's business, all of Taylor, all of Electrofreeze, all of Stolting. We got all their business because we were the only ones shipping machines. And so as we get caught up on that, we went from an average of about 160 machines to build at any one given time. I think we're down to about, what are we now, Mike? 68?
52.
52.
I'm sorry, 62.
62. So we're getting caught up. I think by January we'll be back to 4 to 6 weeks. And that's good. Our prices are right at the website. I publish them. Nobody else does that. Everybody else wants to figure out how much you're worth, and then they'll give you a price on a machine. Just try it. I guarantee you it'll take you a month to get a price from one of those other companies. Us, we say, here's the price. That's it. No arguing.
That's what I encountered when I needed my machine. I can't, Steve, me, you know, that's the price.
It keeps it simple and fair. Yes, sir.
May I ask, because before I bought this one, the guy from another company tried to talk me out of it. Because of my region where I live in.
Yeah.
It won't work there. I'm trying to buy a machine. And he still wouldn't give me a price.
And you bought a CB350?
I just got it I just put it on the cart. It took me about 4 guys. But it's definitely American built. Definitely American.
Yeah, it takes 4 people to lift it.
And I couldn't get a price from him. He would not give me a price.
But we give prices right away. It's like, how are you going to buy a car if you don't know what it costs? You know, obviously, we can't afford a Bentley, so we're not going to go look at one. But how do we know? Because we have an idea that a Bentley's $300,000.
And when you call the company, you have to call the distributor in your region to talk to them.
Yeah.
The company wouldn't give me a price.
And who'd you talk to here?
You.
Yeah.
I call you.
And Christi.
Christi, you and Christi.
Yeah.
You're not a talk person.
Yeah.
And my turnaround is very good.
Service-wise, we are open 7 days a week. I take calls till about 9 or 9:30 at night. I have created a monster in Christi because Christi started, I'll tell you about Christi. Christi worked for that red cup you're drinking out of, Solo, running their production lines. And she came to us and we started her off in parts sales because it's a great way to learn every bit of the machine. I saw that Christi had tremendous potential in selling, and so I started teaching her selling. And then she went to sales manager. Now she's vice president of sales and marketing.
And for the record, I've sold more than him this year.
And she makes better ice cream than I do. It's terrific. But that's what I mean by a family business. My father used to take people in off the street and say, "What can you do?" And they go, "Nothing." "Can you show up?" "Yeah." "Okay, we're going to put you in assembly." And then after 6 months in assembly, we say, "What do you see around here that you like?" And the man or woman might go, "Well, I'd kind of like to learn refrigeration." or I'm interested in a machine shop. So we would partner them up with someone else, and a couple of years later, we've got a full-blood machinist working for us who just walked in off the street. So we do basically, you don't mess with success, I copy the same thing. So a family business makes a difference. You all set to go?
Yeah, I didn't bring my can opener, so I gotta do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, but that's Paula's Tiffany teal-colored can opener.
Well, it's Christie's pineapple juice opener, can opener now. Who's ready for some boozy ice?
Good Lord.
Oh, see, didn't I tell you this morning? When we get to the last batch, you're going to say, oh, no, not another flavor.
So this is a mixed drink, actually, that I took and turned into a Italian ice. It's that easy. I call it the Florida Hurricane because of the color, and it's gorgeous. And then my husband looked at it, and he goes, mermaid juice, because it's really pretty. So you can call it mermaid Italian ice.
Mermaid juice?
Mermaid juice. That's about good. Now you got to do 2 cream of coconuts. We don't need any water for this recipe. I should probably pour that out first.
You see this in the adult?
It is
I see it. The Malibu.
Malibu and blue curacao.
Blue curacao.
You don't need a liquor license for that.
Hmm?
You don't need a liquor license for that.
No, it's an ingredient.
Gotcha.
And we are going to do just half a cup of this.
Oh, add a little more.
I got the blue curacao.
What did you just add from the colander? What did you just pour in there from the colander? Of the stream?
Oh, sugar. This?
Oh, okay.
That was the 1.5 pounds of sugar.
Ooh. Ooh.
We don't want to put too much alcohol.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
All
She's
right.
young.
Why not?
Isn't that a pretty color? I like. That's why my
Yeah.
husband said mermaid juice.
Aqua girl.
Aqua or aqua?
Aqua girl.
Oh.
Oh, don't
Okay.
tell me you say aqua.
Well, that's what it is.
No, there's an A, not an O.
No, it's Aquaman. It's not Aquaman.
Aquaman.
Aqua. You sound you're from the Bronx.
Aquaman.
You're from Boston.
Remember the comic books, Aquaman?
Yeah.
Yeah, not Aquaman.
Yeah,
Aquaman.
Aquaman.
Did you hear about the new movie, what was it, Aqua Girl or something?
Yeah.
Batgirl. Oh, they shelved it. All ready to release, and they took it off the market.
Why? Maybe we shouldn't say why.
Maybe we should.
Okay. Huh.
Imagine.
Yeah.
You can get the Italian ice.
I
Or
did
girl
not.
malfunction.
I hit homemade. It's the same speed. Italian ice and homemade setting on the batch freezer is the same speed. But honestly, it doesn't matter because Italian ice doesn't have expansion. So you can run it as slow and as fast as you want. It's still going to freeze, and it doesn't have but like maybe 17% expansion. And that's just due to everything freezing. And as anything freezes, it expands just a little bit.
Just like us.
Well, you don't get frozen. So we just added alcohol and sugar and pineapple juice, which is also sugar. So remember before we talked about the more sugar you add, the longer it's going to take to freeze. Now, because it's my first startup, because it's been rinsed out, it's been sitting for a little bit, the machine is warm, so it's going to take a little bit longer. So your very first batch of the day is always going to take a little bit longer than the rest of your batches. Now, if I did a couple batches back to back, it's going to take maybe 12, 13 minutes. This will probably push about 15 because of the alcohol, the sugar, the pineapple juice, and it being a warm machine. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Following along? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Any questions about boozy eyes, adding alcohol?
I have a question. How come you don't use cheaper sugar? You know, there's plenty of cheaper sugars on the market, but I see Domino's there.
Yeah.
Do I really have to go into that?
Why don't you come up and explain it, Jeff?
Did you hear what he said? He talked about cheap sugar because, all right, I made a mistake in life. I was only 16.
A mistake.
I was only 16, and the cops said anybody could have done it. But I went out and bought regular store brand sugar. Only to and Jeff kept pushing. You've got to have Domino. Got to be Domino. No, you're just paying for the brand name. Well, don't you know? We get a guy in here sitting in this class last year, and he's from Domino Sugar. He's a chemist for Domino Sugar. He says, "I'm sorry to tell you, Mr. Thompson, but Jeff is right. There is a difference because we are pure cane sugar, and they are beet sugar. Beet. It doesn't say it. It says just sugar, but it's beet sugar. It's made from beets. It's garbage, as opposed to cane sugar."
Joe Pesci and my cousin Vinny.
Yes, Jeff. You know, it was a day in history. Jeff was right.
And we'll never, ever forget about it.
No, I think about it every day.
At least once.
Listen, if I was in Jeff's position, I'd be heralding it every single class. Yes.
Okay, I'm with y'all fine. So I want to make sure that she asked a question. I have a question about when you said alcohol.
Yes.
Now, my whole business is water. Private events, because I've already been asked by it. If you want to infuse alcohol, if it requires water, do you just replace the water with the alcohol?
It depends on what you're making. So
I don't think that's going to fly.
That would be a lot of alcohol.
Yeah.
I've done
She did it because she was adding, obviously, the orange juice or pineapple juice is mostly water.
Yeah.
But alcohol.
I have made a wine sorbet with just wine.
I don't drink, so I don't know what it does. But it was a watermelon flavored ice, but they infused it with Ciroc. And this is another person that I saw the video, but I didn't see them make it. But they use Ciroc, which apparently is a vodka.
You can't go 1-to-1 because then you have bottles of
Right.
alcohol.
Right.
And watermelon's old water.
Use your formula. Use your formula for Italian ice. Let's say it's 3 quarts of water. Well, if you want to make the adult flavor, take a half a quart away and substitute the alcohol for that. But if you're going to add 3 quarts of alcohol, you'll be out of business in a week.
So
and in jail.
Lower proof.
I think that's a great idea.
Let me grab this over here.
She didn't put no water in it, I understand.
Because she's got all the juice.
Yes.
So the lower the proof, the more alcohol you can add. Malibu rum is obviously a lot more lower proof than using Jack Daniels. You're not going to put the same amount of Jack as you would Malibu. This is a lower proof one. I have made a... What?
I said I might.
Yeah, well, you know, it won't freeze. You know, wine, I don't even see it on here. 12. So this is even lower. So I've done 2 quarts of this and a pound of sugar, and it froze just fine in the CB200. So, well, I added 1 quart of this and 1 quart of water. That's what I did. So I can add a whole quart of this and then half this, half water, and then sugar. But I couldn't do that same thing with this or Jack Daniels.
And you know what? She didn't show up for work that Monday either.
Well, the best part is I get to go back in there and keep it all.
If you're talking something strong like Jack, something like that, and you said, you know, at a certain point it's not going to freeze. What's that happy limit?
I have one question. How high can you go?
The happy limit is when you put it in the machine and you grab your spoon. No, when you grab your spoon, you taste it. And you see what you got. Right. Too much Jack, nobody's going to buy it.
Right, of course.
And not enough, they're not going to buy it. Right. And you're the judge.
Exactly. Okay, that makes sense.
I ran 151 alcohol. Guy brought it in, he had a still. This is Florida. And we ran it, and at 20 below zero, the stuff scooped like soft ice cream.
Really?
And that was the one that you took a taste of and you're like that because it was too much alcohol. It, you know, and the brain wasn't, and the taste buds weren't ready for you to be shooting down a shot of 151.
Now, most of the stuff I use is liqueurs, so it's not a high proof. Sometimes, like our rum raisin, that's regular rum, you know, dark Caribbean rum. But for the most part, you're using liqueurs because your goal is familiar tasting to people. Like Bailey's. We make Bailey's. Everybody likes it. It's Bailey's. Kahlua. They love it. Mudslide. Kahlua and amaretto. These are easy things to make, and people know what they are, and they like them. You're not going to try to force 151 down their throats.
No, I actually
You would probably say it was in another state. You used to rock
Oh, there's turns for the
color
spout
like
there?
this would make a fantastic. I'm going to
Oh, I
use
like this.
the bent crooked one because I don't have a nice one here. So using the rainbow maker, you can make 3 different flavors of boozy ice. Me, if it was me making it, I would use that one, and I put it one. I would do a dark blue, like a blue raspberry, and then maybe add some more blue curacao just for a more color flavor and the alcohol content. And then I would do a limoncello. So you have a yellow, then you have a teal, and then you have a blue. So that would look absolutely gorgeous when you do a scoop around. All 3 is a boozy ice. It'd be a great, great visual for a lot of your customers to see, and great use of the rainbow maker. It's so pretty. It's almost like fluorescent.
It is. It's phosphorescent.
Yeah.
It looks like the drinks out of Star Wars.
Huh?
It looks like the drinks out of Star Wars.
I was thinking that or Ghostbusters, the slime that they throw out. That's why my husband goes, it's mermaid juice. But that would look very pretty, you know, with that dark blue and then the teal and then the yellow.
Let me empty that for you. Let them get home.
We're at 8.5 minutes almost, so you probably got a couple more minutes or so before it's going to freeze up really good because of that sugar and the alcohol content. Anybody else have any more questions about it? What to do, what not to do? No?
Did I bring in my 2 pint containers? Do you see them?
I don't know.
Let me go look. Oh.
Did he talk to you about this one?
No.
This is the Great Divide. So instead of 3 flavors, you can do 2 flavors, and it goes directly in here.
Okay.
So once again, you can do, you know, a red and blue or whatever 2 colors you want. And then we also have a gelato pan divider. After I go in circles. And then this can also make 3 flavors as well. So you put it in like this, and then you can do your Neapolitan, you know, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, and then that is also like a great scoop as well.
And here's where you're going to make your fortune. Absolute fortune. Pint sales. Pint sales have been around for a long time, but during February of 2020, I wrote a bunch of articles because the entire country was closing down over COVID. And stores couldn't open, but you could go to your store, and people could go sit out in the parking lot. So we had customers take advantage of social media and advertise that we have these different flavors of pints, and they're frozen rock solid so that you can pick them up and drive 20 miles to home and they're not going to melt. And all of a sudden, stores were open that way, and you texted in your order, and then they ran it out to your car. We're getting Haagen-Dazs, who I said I put in business. They're getting about $5.50 for a pint. My customers are getting $8, $9, $10 a pint because you're dealing with the millennials for starters, and they don't care what the cost is. They want quality. I have 4 millennial children, and they'll buy 1 bottle of wine. They'll go to Sherry Lehman in Manhattan and buy one $80 bottle of wine for the weekend. And I say, what are you kidding? You could get 7 boxes of Boone's Farm for that, or Annie Hill. And my youngest son said, Dad, you're a pig. But it was true. So there's no price sensitivity to pints. They know it's the quality. They wanted it. And here's the scenario that I came up with once the stores reopened. I've got, as you've seen, 2 golden retrievers. It's Florida, it's hot. And Paula says, would you pick up a couple of pints of ice cream tonight? The Thompsons are coming over for dinner. Well, I can't stop at the supermarket, the big supermarket, Publix, and leave the dogs in the car even with the windows open and the air on, that would be unsafe. My car is going to get stolen. I could risk losing the dogs. And I know I'm going to be standing in line behind the nice old lady who's counting out 97 cents in change, you know, one coin at a time. And I'm going, I got to get these pints home. But I know your store. And I know that you have a separate sign right here that says take out pints. And so, and you have a chest freezer like I showed you before, or any kind of freezer, maybe even Culver's uses an upright freezer where you can see them. They're all at 10, 15 below. So I go in and I've got my dogs in the car, parked right out in front, air conditioning running, car locked up. I run in and I grab down a mint chip for me and a coconut for Paula. Certainly not going home with just one ice cream for me. Look what I bought myself, Paula. You know, where's mine? So I grab 2 pints, I put them down, there's nobody there. Just a sign that says take out pints. The server over here has got a line, and the server has got 5, 6 people in line that he's taking care of. And the server sees me, comes over, says, excuse me, comes over to me, you want a receipt? No. You want a bag? No. Slide your card. I slide my card, I grab my 2 pints, and I get in my car. I'm in there 45 seconds. Now, 5 years ago, this line of people would have been saying, look at that bum. He just came in and cut in front of me. That's not fair. Now they look and they say, hey, did you see that guy who just came in? He's got his SUV out there with 2 golden retrievers in it, and he just ran in, and in 45 seconds, he grabbed 2 pints and he's gone. I could do that next Tuesday when the Thompsons are coming for dinner. What a great idea. And you won't believe how many pints you'll sell. Just incredible. Talking to Christi and I and Mike and Slade teach at Penn State, asked Dr. Roberts about this once. I said, how come Haagen-Dazs, our customer, and how come Ben & Jerry only sell in pints? That's always been the way it was, especially Haagen-Dazs. And he said a very profound answer that I hadn't thought of. He said, well, first off, a pint doesn't last very long. As soon as you get home, you take a taste. We men, women, if you don't know this, we took a bite out of it on the way home, and then we smoothed it over. And then since we smoothed it over and there's an indentation, we took a spoon and grabbed it, and we got yelled at, don't take that ice cream, it's for the Thompsons. But we've already smoothed it. Yeah, you're laughing because that's exactly what we do.
We're ready.
Okay, I'll continue.
We ready?
Whoa.
Look at that. Wow, beautiful. Look at that color.
Ew. Hi. Yeah.
You show me one product on the face of this earth that doesn't go with chocolate chips.
Show me one alcoholic drink that has chocolate chips in it.
Well, that looks great.
I'm just going to let that hang. All right. Isn't that so pretty? Imagine that next to that dark blue raspberry with more curacao.
Imagine that with a
and
couple
lemon
of dark chocolate chips on top.
You going to come try it, Jeff?
There you go.
So just finishing up the Penn State professor, why don't they sell in quarts or half gallons? He said, a pint is a perfect size. You'll always buy 2. You don't care about the price. It's the quality you want. You have to bring a second one home to Paula. If you sell it in a half gallon, that's 4 of these.
Ooh.
And if these are $9, now that half gallon is $36. Ooh. He said even Bill Gates won't spend $36 on ice cream. The brain just won't allow you to do it. So the pint is a perfect size, and you'll sell a ton of them.
Wow.
I can't say in public what it sounds like you're doing.
Oh, this is great.
What size is when you had the one size, what size is it?
You can't.
No, I know.
Oh, okay.
For demonstration.
I was freaking out for a second.
No,
boy, this is good.
One last thing on pints that's fun to do is if you are putting them in a bag, throw a couple of spoons in. And they go, what's that for? And even though you're all not from the Bronx, New York, you say something like, well, that's in case you get stuck on the Cross Bronx Expressway. You can eat the evidence. You know, giving credit to us men who have already bitten into it and smoothed it over.
Boy, chocolate chips,
it always
and we'd
gets a
be
little
there.
chuckle with the customer, and you can just throw in a couple of cheap spoons. Yes.
I'm not sure where I think I know this from, but I thought I heard that the pints, you have to put like the nutritional information on there, the contents and whatnot.
No. If one or two states might require it, I would guess maybe California, but no, only if you're wholesaling.
Oh,
And even
did
then
it
it's
again.
questionable. It's just that we've gotten so used to reading containers. But let's be real about it. I was looking at some different ice creams in my freezer last night, and this one was 230 calories a serving. This one was 200 calories. The Talenti was 300 calories a serving. I picked the Talenti because it was the flavor I wanted. The heck with what it said. I'm going to eat the one I want to eat. So, but we do read labels. But if it's a retail sale, meaning that I walk into your store, I buy it, you don't have to have all that labeling on. If I put it in my truck and deliver it to your restaurant, yeah, now it's wholesale. And I have a whole new set of rules. And I have to have a wholesale license to do that.
Yeah,
I only
chocolate
need a
chips.
retail license if you're going to pick it up and take it out.
Mini chocolate chips. There you go.
Christi, were those Giardelli,
What?
the chips?
I didn't put no chocolate chips in here.
Oh, okay.
We don't need no stinking chips. What movie?
No, it was, what was it?
Here you go.
License, not license.
No, Treasure of Sierra Madre.
It's really good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you guys think of that? The boozy ice.
Good, huh? Chocolate mini chips.
Having some of these boozy ice creams.
Isn't that a great term? I mean, for a few years there, it was so over-the-top pretentious. Alcohol-infused ice cream. What the hell does infused mean? You pour the bottle in there and it mixes together. But now they're calling it boozy ice cream, and I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's just a fun term. It just takes away some of the, over pretense by calling it alcohol-infused.
Hey, Paula.
Yes.
If you were going to do something mobile or have multiple mobile units like a cart, I would say, is there anything that you need to do special in order to keep the product cold?
Yeah,
for a
where did
long
I go
period
with
of
that?
time?
Is that container over here?
I don't see it
She took it
anymore.
out. She took it out.
I saw what you had before. It's
Yeah.
it looked like a bucket.
Yeah, it looks like a bucket that's filled with antifreeze,
Okay.
made by Carlisle and sold through dealers. And you freeze that in your freezer, so the colder you freeze it, the better it gets.
Okay.
And then you just drop your 2.5 gallon bucket in, and you can work for several hours.
Okay.
I had one out here for about 3 hours, just sitting in the waiting room at 75 degrees.
Okay.
And it worked great. You're trying to avoid dry ice. Nelson makes some wonderful carts that you plug in, and C. Nelson Company. They make dipping cabinets and push carts. And I believe theirs are cold double-walled plates, and you plug it in tonight, and the walls get, the fluid in between the walls freezes, and then you unplug it and go out, and now you've got hours that you can be serving your product with.
And there are also some sort of essentially coolers, but they're industrial grade coolers.
Yeah, Yeti.
Yeti, well, Cambro.
Cambro?
Cambro
Okay.
has industrial grade coolers, and they sell these cold packs, I think they're called.
Yeah.
And you stick those in
I'm
the
not going
freezer.
to take the ice cream.
And with that, it'll keep the below zero for 4 hours. Well,
Yeah.
That's what they say.
That's what Paula uses is when she brings lunch in, we have those cold packs, and the colder your freezer, the colder they'll go.
Just plug into your car, to do it like that, yes. You charge them?
I was going to put it.
Yeah, but that's going to put a real strain on your car because you are running it for a long time.
I'm
Yes.
learning to talk to you. Your idea was the brakes,
That's what I thought.
chest freezer,
Look at the size of
and the
it.
ink.
Yeah.
Thing.
Let me
And if you
see if
have a
I've got
generator on
that.
site,
Yeah.
it keeps your chest freezer if it's serving.
Makes sense.
Let me show you this, and then we will go out and take a tour. Okay, this is probably nowadays a $2,000 chest freezer from Nelson.
3,200.
How much?
3,200.
Ooh. Okay.
That's the refrigerator.
Well, now what I can do with this little invention I'm going to show you which is not sold by me. I can't endorse it. I can just tell you I like it, but I can't warrant it. You buy it at Amazon. You can go out and buy a small, one of those white chest freezers, probably about for $400 at Lowe's. And it's got a thermostat in it that's going to take it, you can adjust it from 0 to, say, 10 below. That's the range of the freezer, the white freezer for $400. Now, that's not going to work for ice cream, and it's not going to work for Italian ices. But this is like hanging your Christmas lights at Christmas time. So what do you do at Christmas time? You've got lights that you're going to put up on your front porch, and you string up the lights, and then you've got the plug, and you're not going to leave them plugged in all day, so you get a timer, and you plug it into the timer, and then you plug the timer into the wall, and you set it for dusk and 2 a.m. So your Christmas lights are on from dusk and sunset till 2 a.m., and then it turns off the power to the box. Doesn't dim the lights, doesn't do anything with the lights, it just shuts off the power to the lights. So with this thing, you plug this inexpensive box into here. It's got a little probe, a temperature probe, that goes in here. And now we program it not for dusk till 2 a.m., we program it for 16 degrees Fahrenheit or 6 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not going to use the thermostat in here. It's going to run, it's going to supply power to this box until it gets to 16, and then it's cutting the power off. And that's it, no power. And then when it goes up to 7 degrees, it turns the power back on. $32. That's all it is, and you save thousands. My friends at Nelson are going to hate me, but you saved thousands. It's called Inkbird, and the price is important. Amazon, $32. The reason it's important is they make fancier ones. These were originally designed for people making their own beer, and so it has all different settings and gadgets. This is the lowest level that they make, and it just is, on and off. And that's really pretty neat. $32 and you're in the ices business. Amazon. Yeah. Funny name, Ink, I-N-K. Then Bird, B-I-R-D. One has nothing to do with the other. I've got a model number. Here we go. I is in iPhone, T is in Ted, C is in Charlie, -308. ITC-308.
India, Tango, Charlie.
Yes, that's correct. And that's it. Isn't that easy?
I didn't see my name on the diploma.
We'll get you one. Yeah, you're an instructor.
So, if you've attended here before, we just started doing this again. So everybody gets a little diploma for completing a Make It Fresh. Let me find Ken here. Of course.
Turning it on and off?
You're not overloading the freezer by doing that?
No, you're just turning it on and off. I mean, if you go away for the weekend, you can unplug your refrigerator. It's not going to hurt it.
In other words, these freezers aren't designed to only go down to a certain level? It's just the thermostat?
Strictly by the thermostat. So we're just ignoring the thermostat because we're actually going a warmer range, which is great.
Oh, goodness. There it is.
Now, since you've graduated from Steve, Christi, and what was I saying? Steve, Christi, and Jeff University, we will be sending you out quarterly requests for scholarship funds. Made out to Jeff Markow.
No, I don't think
So this guy here, he said he wanted one of my books. He said, "Can I pay by check?" I said, "Yeah, why not?" So I look at this check, and you think this check is good? He lives in Treasure Island.
It's a pretty good name.
At least you know it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, exactly. You can go there and collect.
Might have put my little Oz.
Any last questions before we go take a walk? Okay. And once everybody gets their degree, you can bring your stuff, or you can leave it in here, and we'll head out. Yes.
These motors, cleaning them, extracting product. Teenagers are using it. They leave the motor running.
Thank you.
No problem. I want to know if the motor can burn out.
No, it'll shut itself down. It's got a consistent.
Don't worry about it.
It has no. It's not a stupid question. It has a consistency control in there, and it's going to alarm you. and set off an alarm, and then it says to shut down. Where you can do damage is you come back to a frozen mass of ice cream. Your problem is you come back to a frozen mass of ice cream and you try to restart it, then you can do some damage. So take it apart.
Have you worked with teenagers?
Yes. I just found out something yesterday, and I guess I can say it publicly to actually give you more kudos, because like I said, I just set my CD Monday, and you actually have, this is the first time I've ever seen it, you actually have your how-to videos on that screen.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I just found that out looking at it, because I was looking at the book, and it said, if you troubleshoot it, it actually comes on that screen and shows you. I think that sets you aside from other places.
Not only that, but you're getting videos built into the screen
Yes.
with Lloyd's of London's Christi Brown's hands, insured by Lloyd's of London, showing you how to do the different things.
It really is me on the
It is. You don't see her, you don't hear anything, you just see hands.
Yes.
My hand.
Definitely not on competitors.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming. Especially, this is the first one that Christi has run start to finish, and I think she did a great job. And congratulations. Yeah, well, not without me interrupting you.
Yeah.
We're just the fluff here.
Yes, we are. And
I
we're
felt
pretty
like
damn
the
good at it,
gopher
Jeff.
today.
We're pretty good at fluff. So you want to come follow me?